You know, I muted the microphone because my dog was barking too much. Just another great introduction has been wasted because of the muted microphone. Son of a. Oh. Man, I've been very busy. Very busy this day. For all of you members that have, there's only nine of you that will get mugs. But those of you who sent me the email before Christmas, December, I think it was, have been waiting for this mug forever. And, you know, everything just goes wrong. It's something to do with me. I don't know what the hell is missing. But I finally got all the boxes sizes that I needed. I finally got everything squared away. And I went and looked at the UPS to send this stuff to you guys. It's $18 ground per mug. It's crazy. So I talked to Robert today, and well, I'm sending his mug to a PO box, I guess. And he says UPS doesn't deliver there. So I was going to go to the post office to see how much they charge for shipping. You guys can tell I don't ever ship stuff like this. And I didn't go because I had things to do, and then plus my wife had an appointment that I had to go with her. So I haven't got anything done after everything that I've done today. I feel like I haven't done anything. So after this live, I'm gonna go pick up my wife, and then I'm gonna go take all the boxes, all the mugs, into the postal office and see which way is going to be the best way to ship it. So I will ship Roberts first and find out how much they charge. And if the charge is better than UPS, then I will go ahead and send everybody else's mugs right there from the postal office. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. I see you guys already trying out the new emojis. Burning 47, sister. Good morning, Trinity. I didn't even text you. I didn't even text you today. I figured that if you were waiting, you'd check out my channel and notice that there was a 1 p.m. setup, and I was almost late for that as well. Well, I was actually late like 2 minutes. It looked like, but it's just been very busy, guys. Very busy. No joke. I do have some videos that we have lined up. It's going to be a lot of listening and probably just clowning on the chat because there was a live stream this morning. Right now, the President Trump is during a current live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this morning's live stream. Let me see if I got this set up correctly here. Let me see. I love listening to our POTUS. But I want to see what the order of these are going to be. The first one is an hour and a half. Let's see. Is that an hour and a half? Let me take a look real quick. I don't think that's the one. All right. Well, I do have one set up. So we're going to start with the live that is still going on right now so that you guys can get into it. You see all the windows that I get open. All the windows that I got set up for this. Now, what do you guys think about the new emojis, my patriots? What? Orange Crush says instead of septum rind and a drug addiction. I don't know what you're talking about. Uninformed cultist weirdo, says Tom Coleman. Wait, Tom Coleman. Yeah. Good morning or good afternoon, whatever you are, my friend. Let's see. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much for that text. Thank you very much. All right. Looks like the POTUS is done with his live. And we are going to get started. And Robert, I don't know how you feel about it, but I am drinking some Vietnamese coffee. Probably the most potent coffee that I have tried. And it tastes like liquor. It's so strong. It tastes like liquor. All right. Robert loves the emojis. If you are not a member, you won't be able to put those on. But hopefully, as time goes by, you guys do become members and you enjoy and learn to use the emojis. Especially when we get the libtards in here hating on us, then we can just spam these babies out. Oh, man. Omar, I got the link, brother. I got the link that you sent me. But I wasn't here to be able to play it. So we'll go ahead and do it in delay time. But we're going to go ahead and play it.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. Well, I am honored to stand before you as the sponsor of the legislation that established President Donald J. Trump Boulevard. But I have to be honest and give credit where credit is due. Where's my husband? Just after the election, my husband, Eric, actually said, Meg, you need to rename Southern Boulevard President Donald J. Trump Boulevard. And I immediately maybe snapped at him and said, Eric, give me a few minutes. I'm a freshman. I need some time. But after a few minutes to process, I realized he was right, which is rare in our marriage. I might point that out. But I realized that it also needed to happen. This is something that was a great idea. I'm in this role because of our good friend who is here today, FHP Director Dave Kerner, he reached out to me and told me, Meg, our state needs more servant leaders that care. And I'm here because President Trump spoke common sense when common sense was completely under attack. So I'm so grateful to be a warrior here for you, sir, and to have honestly I never thought I'd be in this role. Just a mom rescuing a lot of animals and listening to you speak, President Trump. You speak common sense. You speak exactly what the people want and have been wanting to hear for many, many years. Thank you. Thank you. When I first filed the language, though, I was told it wasn't allowed, that we couldn't do this. But I am the youngest of four, and my father did coin me the nudge, so it served me well in the Florida House determination. I will have to tell you that it was not just me. There were so many members that, we would kind of have, the bill naming, the process is so interesting. It was first my bill, it rolls into the road naming bill, and from there it goes to the House and the Senate. So there's so many people that are involved. Speaker Perez, you're such an incredible supporter. And in fact, in your inaugural remarks, you said this is a member-driven process, and this is exactly what this is, a member-driven process. This was exactly how it played out. We had Representative Nix, Representative Brannon, Senator President Albritton in the Senate, and other senators, and so many members and staff that really worked hard to make this happen. I'm a woman of faith, and I want to say Romans 13:7 says, "Give honor and respect to all those whom it is due." And President Trump, today we're doing exactly that. We need to honor and respect you and your family for everything that you have done for us in our country. So thank you. I want to thank you to all the officials that voted and helped make this happen. It doesn't just even happen in the state. As I learned as a freshman, you have to then go through many municipalities, which was a learning process for me as well. But I want to thank my staff, Kate, Lex, and Alexander. You guys are all rock stars. I'm so grateful to have you part of my team. President Donald J. Trump Boulevard now stands as a permanent reminder for courage, leadership, and unapologetic patriotism. I am proud to have played a role in to make that happen. And I'm looking forward to the airport where greatness takes off. You like that? Where greatness takes off? It is truly my honor to introduce the most incredible president of our lifetime, President Donald J. Trump.
That is something that's very special. That was a beautiful introduction, and it was from the heart. I could see that. Sometimes I get introduced not from the heart. We know that. We know about that, Danny. But this was amazing to see so many dignitaries, political leaders from Florida and beyond. It's really nice. Ooh, that looks very nice that you're carrying it. That's beautiful. Thank you. Wow. That's the real deal. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All top people in this room, really amazing people. And we have a lot of media back there. We appreciate you're here. We very much appreciate that you're here. See, I'm being nice today to the media. I think I have. But a very special thanks to State Representative Meg Weinberger. The job she's doing is amazing. And she's going to do very well politically. I used to tell her, I don't know, that's a tough race, but go do it. And she did it, and she won. And then a lot of people didn't think she was going to be able to win, beating people that were doing it for a long time. You weren't doing it for a long time, but you've become a veteran very fast, and you've done very well. Congratulations. We appreciate it. They call her MAGA Meg. And now when you have that, you can never lose a race. You can't lose. People just didn't understand that you can't lose a race, right, with that? Thank you, darling. And where's your husband, by the way? Where is he, Eric?
My arm candy.
Wow. Great job. Thank you very much for that reference. That was a very important reference. Thank you, Eric, very much. And speaking of Eric, I have Eric Trump right here, who's a great guy. He's a great young guy, and he's done a fantastic job. When I'm away, I don't know, I look at, I see things happening all over the world, and the whole family has been so terrific, but Eric has been right there at the front, and I appreciate it very much. He's a great boy. We love that boy. We love that boy. Thank you, honey. Appreciate it. And I'm thrilled to be back in my home state of Florida, and this truly incredible privilege. I moved down here. I love New York, but it was just worked that way. And we won Florida so much and by so big, and it continues. We even have Club 47 here. Look at these representatives. Used to be Club 45. Then they said, I think we're going to change it to Club 47, and we're having a good time. Let me tell you, we're doing a job for our country. We're saving our country, because if they would have gotten in, this country would have been a place known as Venezuela on steroids. It would have been in big trouble. So we did a job, and so many of the people, Gina, so many of the people in the room, they helped so much. It's incredible. So I'm tremendously honored that the main boulevard from Palm Beach International Airport to the beautiful Mar-a-Lago is being renamed in my honor. That's a very important stretch. A lot of people, a lot of important people, and I don't care if they're important or not, but important and not important people travel on that road. But I love the people of Florida. I love the entire Palm Beach area. I've been here for a long time, and I want to thank you all for being here. I'll remember this amazing gesture for the rest of my life, and in particular Meg and Eric and all of the people that work so hard for this. I also want to thank a man who's amazing. He's an administrator. He's one of the most talented people in the country at what he does. Joe Abruzzo, he's here someplace. Joe, what a talented guy. There's nobody better in the whole country at what he does. And what he does is not easy, but everybody respects him and everybody listens to him, and he's got great values, but he's got a great sense of design and everything else that you need. You need a lot of capability in that job, and you have every bit of it. Thank you, Joe, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. And who's that young lady? Thank you very much. Fantastic. It's good to have you both. Let me also express my gratitude to all of the members of the Florida House, many of whom I've gotten to know over the years, and the Senate, incredible people. I mean, literally incredible people who united behind the legislation granting me this great honor, including the Speaker of the House, Danny Perez, who I think has a hell of a future. I don't know what you're doing, Danny, but what a future. Wow. Because he has an unlimited political future, but whatever you choose, I'm behind you 100%. You know that. Danny, thank you for a great job. Great job. And State Senator President Ben Albritton, I want to thank you, Ben. Good job you're doing. Everybody's respected in this group. You know, they get along down in Florida, although I can't say that's necessarily always the case. I guess you probably have a couple of people that you maybe not as friendly with, but you are great people. Ben, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Along with state representatives Danny Nix, Chuck Brannon, Chip Lamarca, Mike Redondo, Juan Carlos Peras, and State Senator Debbie Mayfield. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we're also pleased to be joined by many distinguished guests, including Congressman, a friend of mine for a long time, Brian Mast. Thank you, Brian. What a great guy. People love that guy. And another friend of mine and somebody, I mean, you talk about attorney generals, there's no better attorney general than this one. He better win this race because I think he's going to. I'm 407-0, and I gave him my strongest endorsement. And James Uthmeyer. So where is James? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're doing good. How are the polls doing? Pretty good? It's a blowout, but let's not say that. Let's say you're winning by one or losing by one. Doesn't make any difference. Get them out to vote, right? It was an honor to endorse you, and congratulations. Doing a great job. And I want to thank Ron, too, because Ron has been really behind this with Meg and everybody else, and we did have his back in 100%. I appreciate it, and it's a great honor. Thank you very much. See you. Florida Agricultural Commissioner Wilton Simpson, who I've been with for a long time, right? I've been with him for a long time. And I appreciate it. Thanks, Wilton. Appreciate it very much. Executive Director of the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, Dave Kerner, who had so much to do with this. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. Mayor of Palm Beach, Danielle Moore. She was a terrific woman. Where is Danielle? Thank you, Danielle. We're working on a little project. Nice, beautiful, clean, crisp water, right? Yes, sir. And she's leading it, and she's incredible, just like her mother was incredible and is. Oh, where's Mom? I want to see Mom. Oh, you look good. You look very good. I haven't seen a former mayor of Palm Beach and highly respected. Who's respected more, you or your mother? I don't know. It's pretty close, right? You're pretty close. He says Mom is respected more. That's good. That's a daughter better say that, right? Thank you, darling. Appreciate it. That's great. Thank you, Danielle. Glad you told me she was here. Former Mayor Leslie Smith is here, who's great and a formerly very good golfer. I think she's still a good golfer. Leslie, where's Leslie? Leslie? Thank you very much, Leslie. Thank you. Thank you, darling. I appreciate it. We've known each other for a long time. Incredible people. And the members of the Palm Beach Town Council are here. Thank you all very much. You do a great job. You love the town. I love the town, too. I had a lot of choice on towns, and I said, this is the town I want to be in. So we all love it, and it's an honor to have saved Mar-a-Lago. You know, most of these great houses went down. They went down rapidly. And they were subdivided into 25 homes, et cetera, And I'll tell you what, this was an honor. But they like me because I saved the house. Somebody said they like me because you're a great president, but they like you more because I saved Mar-a-Lago. Saving Mar-a-Lago was to them more important. Thank you very much. I like you. Thank you very much. Mayor of Palm Beach County, who I endorsed, by the way, Sarah Baxter. Sarah? Hi, Sarah. Congratulations, Sarah. So we're at 407-0. We have to make sure that you're going to, but I think it's going to work out very well. Congratulations. You had so many people that said, you got to be with her. I said, I am. So good luck with the election. I know it's going to work out very well. Thank you. Good luck. The members of the County Commission and the West Palm Beach City Commission, who are unbelievable people. They love the area. They work hard and they're good. Where are you? Can you raise your hands a little bit? Great. Thank you. Great job you're doing. You know, we're all working together this place. We're working on a little water project, and if we can get the water perfect, that'll be great. Mayor, you're heading it up from this part of the world, and I know they're working in West Palm Beach in the area. And we'll see whether it's desalinization or filtering. There's a couple of different ways we can do it. But whatever we can do, I think it would be great. We're working along with West Palm Beach also. So thank you, and thank you, Mayor. Dan Newland is here, and Gina Loudon is here, and Linda Soch is here, and Larry and Sue Snowden are here. Thank you, Larry and Sue. Thank you. And basically, just sort of like everybody's here, and it's really something special. We're pleased to be in the same legislation as it renames another section of Southern Boulevard, and a very nice section indeed. I know it well, in honor of 3 brave motorcycle deputies from the Palm Beach Sheriff's Office who were killed last year in a horrific accident. Horrible. It was a horrible situation. But I saw so much love. I saw everybody in this room was there, plus. We had a ceremony in honor of these 3 incredible people. Corporal Luis Paez Jr., who is just, Luis Paez was somebody was loved and respected by so many people. They all said, thank you for being there in honor of her. And Deputy Sheriff Ralph Butch Waller Jr. and Deputy Sheriff Ignacio Dan Diaz. The 3 of them, what happened to them, this was unbelievable. The ceremony was one of the most beautiful and saddest ceremonies that I've ever attended. But I was deeply honored to be there. On May 1st, I bestowed the honor of first ever. These were medals that were worked on by my son, Eric, very hard. We had a great jeweler. Can I say the name of the jeweler? Tiffany. And they came up with a really incredible medal. And it's called the Medals of Sacrifice. And they did a beautiful job, and it was really led by Eric Trump. So I want to thank you, Eric, too. Thank you. And unfortunately, when certain events happen like that, and they do happen, they shouldn't happen, but they do happen, we're going to do the medal ceremony, and it's going to be something special. So today we pay tribute to them and to those to the loved ones. Some of their family members are here. We love their family members, what they went through. Those deputies will live in our hearts forever, and Florida will remember them always with the PBSO Motorman Highway. PBSO Motorman Highway. It's great, beautiful thing. I'm going to see it every time I go up that road. Today's dedication ceremony for President Donald J. Trump Boulevard is special meaning to me, because I've always had the unique bond with the great state of Florida. We had tremendous success here. I've been part of the community for more than 40 years. We won big here in Florida all 3 times. We set every record every time. And in 2024, we swept 61 of 67 Florida counties. Nobody's ever done that, and carried the state by almost 2 million votes, which is the record. And then I was followed also, and from the governor's standpoint, with Ron, who did fantastically also. And we've turned this state, there are a few Democrats in this room, I don't want to get into this, but we've turned the state extraordinarily red, I would say, wouldn't you say? You'll find out, you're going to see. But over the past 12 months, Florida's trust and confidence has really paid off, because you made a correct choice. 1 year ago, we were, I say it, dead country. The king of Saudi Arabia, I was over in Saudi Arabia getting money for the country. He put up $2 trillion. Gave us, I'd like to invest in the United States, $2 trillion. It's a lot of money. And then I went to Qatar, $2 trillion. And I went to the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed, $2 trillion. So we took in $6 trillion. That's why we have 18, because we got 6 from 3 countries. That helps, right? Laura, is that right? Hi, Laura.
Good to see you.
Boy, you are something. What spirit you have. Laura Loomer, thank you, honey, for being here. Appreciate it. She's, she can be a little nasty, but to me, she's always nice. So that's all that matters. I want her to stay that way, too. But I was over there, and he looked at me, the king of Saudi Arabia. He said, I can't believe it. This was a few months ago. Took back all that money for the country. He said, I can't believe this is happening, because 1 year ago you were a dead country, and now you're the hottest country in the world. And I use that quote all over. And it's true. We were a dead country, and now We are the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're taking in more income than any country. We're doing better than any country. The stock market's doing better than anyone's ever seen before. We have the best stock market we've ever seen. 401ks are doing better than they've ever done before. They're up 78% in many cases. But starting on day one, we fully secured our Southern Boulevard and stopped and think of it, as we were securing Southern Boulevard, making Florida great, we're also securing a thing called the Southern Border and making that great, and we stopped the invasion of our country. So Florida's been ahead of their time. Florida was ahead, it led the way, but we stopped this was an invasion on our border. And I don't know if this is correct because it can't be correct, it's too good. But for the last 8 months, there have been no people that came into our country illegally. Now, I don't know if that's possible. How do you go from 25 million people in 4 years to 0 people? But the people, Wilton, the people that report this are Democrats. So it must be true. I mean, but it's like 8 months now, and they report it every month. No people came into our country, so I don't know, illegally. A lot of people are coming in legally. They're going through a process, but we don't want the illegal coming in. You look at what's happening in Minnesota, it's so sad. And it's so sad because ICE is taking out murderers. They're taking out drug lords. They're taking out people from mental institutions, bringing them back to their country. They're taking out the roughest people, Tren de Aragua. The jails are emptied out from Venezuela. Now I like Venezuela very much. I say good things. I don't talk about Venezuela in a negative. I think it's a wonderful country. It's very interesting. It's so much different. It's changed so much in literally a week. It was one of the great military maneuvers of all time. It was like flawless. It was one of the great of all time. But we're dealing with the new president. We're dealing with a lot of the people that were running the country, and they had our first thing is they said we have 50 million barrels. Hard to believe, Eric. I said, is there such a thing as 50 million barrels? 50 million barrels of oil, and we have to get it processed immediately because we have no room. Will you take it? I said, we'll take it. I didn't have to consult with anybody on that. I didn't have to call up our great attorney general. I said, we will take it. And it's the equivalent of $5.2 billion. That was the first day. And it's now traveling nicely to the United States. And we've had a great relationship with the people that are currently they say the interim president and everybody else. And it's been, I think a lot of pressure has been released. Because, that was a great country 20 years ago, and then it went bad because it had the wrong system, it had a bad system. And we can't ever fall into a position where we have that system, because that system isn't going to work. That system can make a lot of people that are good people, bad people, or incompetent people. But we passed the largest tax cuts in history, the largest regulatory cuts in history, and the largest spending cuts in history, and that got done. We call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill. We have no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. People that buy a car, they get a deduction now on their interest. If they buy a car and borrow money, it never happened before. Rich people that got used to taking deductions. People in middle-class situations or lower than middle class, they never got deductions on anything. They can now. I think it's going to have a huge impact. We're building more factories in the United States now than at any time in our history. And we have $18 trillion being invested. We have think of that, $18 trillion more than any country has ever had by 5 times. Think of that. There's never been anything even close. $3 trillion is the record. We're going to be, I think, at over 18. Through 10 months, it was 18. We could crack 20 by the time we have our first year, which will be in a little while, January 20th. So it's been amazing. We also did a couple of other things. Critical race theory and transgender insanity is out of our schools and out of our lives. And we got men out of women's sports, officially out of women's sports. And everyone said, well, that's an 80-20 issue. No, that's a 98-2 issue. I don't even think it's 98-2. Military recruitment is setting records. A year ago, and now you have to go a year and a half ago, I guess, but a year ago, military recruitment was at an all-time low, and that included for police and firemen. And now military recruitment, police and firemen, is the highest it's ever been. We have never had this many people apply for jobs. We've never seen anything like it. And we hire now on a merit-based system because we won the court case, the Supreme Court case. Everything's based now on merit. So we get people in merit as opposed to putting people in jobs that maybe shouldn't be there. Whether it's nice or not, it's how our country grew. It's how our country became great. So we have a merit-based system. In less than a year, we made 8 peace deals and ended the war in Gaza. We have peace in the Middle East. Nobody thought that was going to be possible. We stopped India and Pakistan from fighting, 2 nuclear nations. They say many millions of people. The Pakistani prime minister said Donald Trump saved at least 10 million people. And it was amazing, and it's an honor. And we obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity with Operation Midnight Hammer. That was another operation that was incredible. And then you have al-Baghdadi. We got out. That's founder of ISIS, was rebuilding ISIS. We got him. And Soleimani, he's the one, the roadside bomb. And frankly, he was a strong general. And maybe we wouldn't have been so successful. I think we would have, but maybe we wouldn't have been so successful in Iran had he been around. But he destroyed a lot of lives and a lot of young people that walk around with no legs, no arms, a face that was just, just smashed. He was the father of the roadside bomb, and he knew how to do it. We got him. And as I announced earlier this month, from right here at Mar-a-Lago, we apprehended the outlaw known as dictator Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela for his crimes against the United States and the rest of the world. And actually, no other nation in the world could have done that. And they actually admit that. There's no other nation could have done what we did a week ago. Every single day of my administration, I will continue to put America first and fight for the great state of Florida. I love this state. Special place. I don't know. It's just special. You know it. I know it. A lot of people know because a lot of people are coming here. So that when people see that the beautiful sign is all lit up nice at night and it says Donald J. Trump Boulevard, they'll be filled with pride. Just pride, not in me, pride in our country, pride in this state, because our nation will be stronger, richer, and more successful, which is what it is right now. We're stronger, richer, and more successful than we have ever been before. And I didn't know the big surprise is that we could do this quickly. I thought it would take us a couple of years maybe, but we did it very quickly. I mean, it's been 11 months, and we've never had anything like it. More factories, more everything. There's never been anything like what we've done. And that means car factories, too, not just the AI. The AI is unbelievable, what's happening there. We're leading China by a lot, but we're building more car factories than at any time in the history of our country. Who would think that? And that's largely because of tariffs. They don't want to pay the tariff. It's a pretty simple formula. China became powerful because of that. They don't want to pay the tariff, but it only works really here. It works best here, what a lot of people don't understand. It doesn't work in most countries, but here it works great. So because of that, we have more things happening than we've ever had, and I think you're going to see an explosion. You already see it, in all fairness, but this next year could be just an explosion of success. So once again, I want to express my gratitude to every official who contributed to this great honor, in particular Meg, who's an incredible, what a future. She's got a good future too, Daddy, right? Come on. And I want to thank especially my son, and I want to thank the great people of Florida. This is just an amazing day for me, and it's an amazing place. And we're going to have 3 more great years, but hopefully we're going to have many, many decades of greatness in this country. So we have it off to the right start. Thank you all very much. What an honor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good luck. Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it. Wow.
Just like in a special way,
Okay.
You've done this before.
All the poor libtards are so upset. President Donald J. Trump's Boulevard. Fantastic. Well, that is a good start, my friends. We're going to jump in to welcome everybody, but we're going to jump into what Denmark Foreign Ministries minister reveals the result of the U.S. and on Greenland's future. And well, let's take a listen, see what they say. That way we can talk about it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from the press. Minister Vivian Motzfeldt and I met with Vice President Vance and Secretary Rubio today. We came here following a number of, how should I put it, remarkable public comments on Greenland and Arctic security. Our aim was to find a joint way forward to increase Arctic security. What can the Kingdom of Denmark do more? What can US do more? What can NATO do more? The Kingdom of Denmark has already stepped up our own contribution by committing additional funds for military capabilities, not dock slates, but ships, drones, fighter jets, etc. And we are definitely ready to do more. The US has already a wide
I want to point something out to you. Now, I know that libtards never leer anything, but today you're going to leer something. Minnesota started talking shit about Trump and the administration. You see, little mayors and little governors, they think that they are the shit, but they forget President Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief of all of the United States of America. So when he says something, if he says jump, you say how high. That's right. That is the president of the United States of America. And he is in the executive branch, which is the supreme branch above the other two branches. Whether you like it or not, it is irrelevant. Now watch what happened when Trump says, I want Greenland, because Denmark hasn't done anything for Greenlanders. Listen to him talk. Oh, well, now we're going to give more money. Now we're going to give more military help. Not dog sleds. We're actually going to give jet fighters. That's what happens when President Donald Trump talks. People can whine and complain, but at the end of the day, you're going to say, Daddy, what else can I do for you? So enjoy, libtards.
military access to Greenland. Under the 1951 Defense Agreement, the US can always ask for increasing its presence in Greenland, and therefore we wish to hear if the US had any further requests to make in this aspect. We would examine any such request constructively. Greenland is, through the Kingdom of Denmark, a member of NATO and has been that since the very founding of NATO in 1949, and is therefore also covered by Article 5. We have been pushing for quite a while in NATO for a stronger collective role in Greenland together with a number of allies, and we are eager to work with the US on advancing this agenda, and we are prepared to go further. Therefore, our aim was to find a common understanding on all these points and to launch, if possible, further in-depth work to deliver on them. On this basis, we had what I will describe as a frank but also constructive discussion. The discussions focused on how to ensure the long-term security in Greenland. And here our perspectives continue to differ, I must say. The President has made his view clear, and we have a different position. We, the Kingdom of Denmark, continue to believe that also the long-term security of Greenland can be ensured inside the current framework, the 1951 agreement on the defense of Greenland, as well as the NATO treaty. For us, ideas that would not respect territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark and the right of self-determination of the Greenlandic people are, of course, totally unacceptable. And we therefore still have a fundamental disagreement, but we also agree to disagree. And therefore we will, however, continue to talk. We have decided to form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward. The group, in our view, should focus on how to address the American security concerns, while at the same time respecting the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. We expect that such a group will meet for a first time within a matter of weeks. And then I will pass the floor to my colleague from Greenland, Vivian Mosfeld.
Thank you so much. Not repeating what already been said here, so I would like to say something in my own language, because there are many, many people in Greenland that follows, and for that I hope that you will allow me. So, asasekka nunaqatikka naringira tamas marinnaasusi ulloq uatsinnut pissanganarsimagoq oqaatigilarali ullumik ataatimiineq ingerlalluarsimammat aamalu inimi ataatimiifigisatsinni атаққиқатигиинеқ ааллаавигалугу оқалеқатигиинери ингерланнеқарсимаммата массаккуллу сиуму саммисимик оқалеқатигиинерит ингерлаққиннissaанут аққутиник уярлеқатигииниссатсиннут исимақатигиисималлута. I think that our meeting today and our commitment to find the right path is something that gives us to be able to see forward. And by saying that, I also committed on what Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen already said. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And then I think we take a few questions. Tom from BBC. Yes.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Just first of all, you talked about the working group. Can you just give us a sense of what this means now? So what has actually been agreed you're going to do next, despite this, as you described it, fundamental disagreement? You mentioned the dog slaves. In terms of what you've announced in terms of beefing up security in the Arctic around Greenland, when you hear that kind of language from President Trump about amounting to no more than 2 dog slaves, how does that make you feel?
Well, that's actually quite a few questions at the same time. Well, I have known the President for quite a while, also in my former capacity as Prime Minister in Denmark, and I know his approach. But I must say, and even though he addressed things quite differently from what I would have done myself, there's also always a bit of truth in what he's saying, not about the dog slaves. Well, we also have dog slaves to our special forces. That's the way to, otherwise you couldn't come around in the northern part of Greenland. But I must say that, of course, we share, to some extent, his concerns. There is definitely a new security situation in the Arctic and the high north. All of us, transatlantic, took the peace dividend years ago, and we have the vision of keeping Arctic as a low-tension region. That's probably also why US themselves have decided to have a much softer footprint in Greenland. During the Cold War, at some stage, they had 17 different military installations and military bases. Now they only have 1. They had like 10,000 personnel in Greenland. Now they have around 200. That's not our decision. That's a U.S. decision. And now the situation is entirely different. And of course, we have to respond to this. The big difference is whether that must lead to a situation where U.S. acquire Greenland, and that is absolutely not necessary. I mean, we have the long-lasting diplomatic relation, the longest-lasting diplomatic relation with U.S. that any U.S. ally has, 225 years in a row. And we have a perfect framework which could be used. And therefore, to answer your question, even though we wasn't so successful that we reached, a conclusion where our American colleagues said, "Oh, sorry, it was totally misunderstanding. We gave up on our ambitions." There's clearly a disagreement. we agreed that it makes sense to try to sit down on a high level to explore whether there is possibilities to accommodate the concerns of the president, while we at the same time respect the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. So this is the work we will start. Whether that is doable, I don't know. I hope, and I would like to express that it could take, down the temperature. We have now had like 13 months with this ongoing discussions in social media, and this is actually the very first time where we could sit down at a top political level to discuss it. And it was a great opportunity also for Vivian and I to go up against the narrative, because it is not a true narrative that we have, Chinese warships all around the place. According to our intelligence, we haven't had a Chinese warship in Greenland for a decade or so. So, from that perspective, it was a very constructive meeting. As I said, frank discussion among equal partners, and now at least we have to give it a try. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think it's very important to say it again, that how important it is from our side to strengthen our cooperation with the United States, but that doesn't mean that we want to be owned by the United States, but as allies, how we can strengthen our cooperation, it's all our interest.
Yes, Kim?
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, I would like to ask this question in Danish, but let me do it in English here,
yes,
because of our colleagues here. Do you see any compromise ahead of you? You said a little bit. Could you elaborate a little on the possible compromise that there would be between the president's wish to acquire Greenland or have control of Greenland and the red lines that the Kingdom of Denmark has gotten right now? And if you also can tell us just a little bit about the approach that the Americans had to this meeting. What was their primary goal, as you see it? Was that to reach that end goal, or was it an open discussion of how do we solve the security situation in the Arctic?
Well, first of all, I don't think this is the proper place to elaborate on what could be a compromise. The whole idea and the reason why we asked for this meeting was to turn public debate in a very, black and white kind of setting into a discussion where there's room for nuances. And therefore, I'm pleased, even though we do not agree whether this is doable, while we at the same time should respect the Kingdom's red lines, at least it is productive to start discussions at a high level. And then we have to see whether we will be successful or not. I would say, and that is probably in comparison to some of the public debate, that the meeting took place in a very constructive atmosphere, where we also had, as I said, the opportunity to at least challenge the narrative presented by the American president. And I think that is a necessity if we want to have a proper debate. It was basically about security. And as I said, even though there's not an instant threat from China and Russia, at least not a threat we can't accommodate. For instance, Chinese investments, we have avoided that due to close cooperation between Greenland and Denmark. When you saw, like 10 years ago, the Belt and Road Initiative and an idea of Chinese investments in infrastructure in Greenland, we avoided that. So there's no, Chinese presence in Greenland. But there's a concern. Will that be the case in like 10 or 20 years from now? It will not, because our Greenlandic friends have introduced investment screening schemes, etc. And Denmark, is by all means on the right side of history. And therefore we will also continue to do what we already have done. We have been stepping up. We have allocated almost 15 billion US dollars within just the last couple of years to capabilities in the High North. We have been pushing among the Arctic NATO states for a bigger NATO engagement. Honestly speaking, and now I can only point fingers at the former American administration, US has historically been a bit reluctant. Hopefully that will change now. There's a dialogue within the NATO framework, and we want to step up, and hopefully that could also accommodate some of the president's concern. But it's not that I'm now, saying everything is solved. It's not solved. We didn't manage, but I honestly speaking, I didn't believe that was doable. We didn't manage to change the American position. It's clear that the president has this wish of conquering over Greenland. We made it very, very clear that this is not in the interest of the kingdom. There's a government in Greenland with support from 3/4 of the Greenlandic population. The premier made it very, very clear yesterday that Greenland, for the time being and for foreseeable future, will remain within the kingdom of Denmark. And therefore, this is a common position that we want to work with our American friends and allies, but it must be a respectful cooperation and it must respect the red lines. Should we take a very final question and then, yeah, come on. There's a fight going on now about, okay, yes.
I would also like to, of course, ask a question in Danish.
We can do that afterwards. Yeah.
For both of you. So you say you have had a constructive meeting. You said in Greenlandic, I could hear the translation, it was a good meeting. But how do you feel about going out of that room without the threat being off the table? So we still have the American administration that wants to have Greenland being part of the United States. And you say, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, that, well, we hope that we can find a way. But how do you actually feel? It can't be very sort of securing, isn't it?
Vivian?
I think that it's never been so important to initiate that we are allies, we are friends, we have been cooperated in many, many years, we have history together, so it's all our interest to find the right balances. So I don't think I can say it longer than that. Of course, we have work to do in the future, and for us the most important is that you find the normalized relationship we used to have, and it's very important. And I think that we have initiated so many times where we stand and our geopolitical and location and everything that is very important, and we do it as an ally, and we do it. Of course, it's also our interest that Greenland's positions and how we do it, that you do it on behalf of the allies. And yes.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah, that will be the final question.
Could I just ask you?
That would be the final question.
Mark Stone from Sky News. Can I just ask you both about the emotion of this moment? What did the administration, what did Trump's team say to you when you presumably told them that you can't just take over a people, you can't just take over and acquire a nation? Was there any discussion about, did they appreciate that perspective, or for them is this simply about security?
I think that what we have been saying, that the meeting is been on a respect way, and we have shown where our limits are, and from there I think that it will be very good to look forward, and this high level group that is going to work together. As I'm already saying, that it's all our interest to find the right path. It's all according to the security in Northern Hemisphere. So I don't want to say more than what we discussed in the closed meeting room, but I would like to have this how do you say it in English? Hope for a more mutual understanding and trying to find the right balances is equally from all countries.
Did the Americans offer money?
It is, of course, very emotional for all of us, and of course, particularly for people living up in Greenland, but also for people in Denmark. We have 17,000 Greenlandic people living in Denmark. It sums up to like 1/3 of the Greenlandic population. We have a lot of Danes living in Greenland, more than 1 out of 10, which just emphasize that Denmark and Greenland are, integrated, and it has been that for centuries. And we look at ourselves as U.S. closest allies. I've had this discussion with the president previously. In Afghanistan, we had exactly as many casualties as U.S. And I know very well that, the future is not necessarily about the past, but I think it is important also to have the past in mind. And we are eager to fulfill our promises. And even though our view on the situation right now around Greenland differs from public statements in the U.S., we share the concerns in a long-time perspective. And we want to work closely with the U.S., but it must, of course, be a respectful kind of cooperation. And we both took the opportunity, of course, also to express that it is not easy to think innovative about solutions when you wake up every morning to different threats. Whether that will have an impact, I can't say for sure, but I can only say that it is in everybody's interest, even though we disagree, that we agree to try to explore whether it is doable to accommodate some of the concerns while at the same time respecting the integrity of the Danish kingdom's territory and the self.
So that's the biggest issue. The Denmark doesn't want to give up Greenland. That is the problem. Now, when I say that he's saying that Trump is right, what I'm saying is that they know that they have a weakness in Greenland. And now to say that there is no China movement or presence is the most lying, the most stupidest thing that you can say. Because as I pointed out, they do business with them a lot. And it's not just the China shrimp and the fishery that they do business with. Denmark has been slacking. And yes, the whole two sleds being defense is exactly what was happening. But because Trump went over there and said, now we want Greenland, all of a sudden, now they realize that they have left Greenland unattended for so long, and people just come in here and ravage Greenland whenever they want. And who comes out and bails them out? The USA. So why should we be putting more military forces up there for their benefit and not ours? No, we're not going to do that. We need to take over Greenland. I know, I know how it sounds. I know how it sounds. But Denmark cannot do jack squat against Russia or China should they decide to occupy Greenland. But they will not dare step foot on Greenland if the United States has control of it. That's what some people on the left don't understand. And because they're cowardly, of course, they're never going to agree with it. But it doesn't matter. I want to hear from Maria Machado. I want to hear what she says. A lot of the libtards are kind of upset, that she came and gave, the Nobel Peace Prize, which to me, it doesn't mean shit. It really doesn't. I really don't understand this part about Trump of why he wants it. I would have said, you know what? Thank you for the gesture, but no, you keep it. This is not that important to me. I don't care. But you know what? It is what it is. I disagree with the president on that one, but I still know that there is a plan. Now, the reason why, now I know I got a few people on this live, but I want you to keep your mouth shut from what I'm going to tell you next, okay? The reason why Trump doesn't want to say anything about Maria Machado getting into power is to protect her. Okay? That's it. That's all I'm going to tell you. If you can't figure it out, you're not as smart as you think you are. All right. So with that being said, I want to hear about Maria Machado, what she says. There's a reason why she's not upset with President Trump, and I can tell you that right now, unless she proves me wrong right here on this speech. Let's take a listen. Be patient, libtards. We'll get to argue in a little bit.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, such a pleasure to be here. Very grateful to the Heritage Foundation and every one of you to join us this morning. I have to say that looking back what has happened in the last years, and especially in the last days, it seems like a miracle to be sitting here in a free country in front of people that have also given their lives to fight for freedom and justice and democracy. And that's why I am very honored, not only with the Heritage Foundation, but with every single citizen of this country that has welcomed us and has honored the immense struggle that the Venezuelan people has fought for so long. And finally, we can say that we are, yes, the threshold of freedom. On January 3rd, 2026, a new milestone was achieved, and we are definitely now into the first steps of a true transition to democracy that will have not only immense impact in the lives of all Venezuelans, those who stayed in our country, those who have been forced to flee around the world, but that will have immense impact in the region, in our hemisphere, and I will say even further in the whole world. Because what we have proven is that a people determined to be free, even without resources, without money, without the free press supporting, even facing the most cruel tyranny, can prevail, because the force of conviction and the force of love is the strongest of all. I am very proud to be part of these generations of Venezuelans. Most of them have never known what it means to live in freedom or what it means to be part of democratic society, but they have risked their lives, their loved ones, everything they have, because they share that dream to live in a free country. It's all about human dignity. It's all about justice. It's all about love. And it's love for our children, love for our country, and love for freedom that has brought us here. Now we face a very complex and delicate process. And as Venezuelans, we are absolutely grateful to President Trump, his team, his administration, and the people of the United States, because it took a lot of courage to do what he did. And he did it, yes, on behalf of the American people, but also because he cares for the people of Venezuela. And he told me that yesterday. And I think that was the most important message I can bring back to my country. Tell the Venezuelan people that the American people and the President of the United States truly cares for the life, the well-being, and the future. I'm certainly talking about our political prisoners and all those who have been persecuted, those who are all today in exile. But I'm also talking about those children that are growing without their mothers because they had to flee to send food back, that are growing without education because public schooling in Venezuela works 2 days a week because teachers earn $1 a day and they need to get other jobs in order to eat, that are growing without health and food. And we have the generation that is suffering the highest levels of malnutrition in a century. That's our children right now. And it is because of them. It's because of saving lives that we're doing what we're doing right now. And that's why we're going to win. And the only thing I want to assure the Venezuelan people is that Venezuela is going to be free, and that's going to be achieved with the support of the people of the United States and the President, Donald Trump of the United States. So I'm very grateful to be here. We are facing challenging times ahead. We are prepared to do what it takes as a legitimate government. Edmundo González Urrutia and I have been in communication permanently all these days, and we feel not only with a mandate from the Venezuelan people, and that's why I'm here, and that's why what I convey to the President of the United States, but also with a huge task in front of us to prepare with all our teams around the world and in Venezuela to take over government when the right time arrives. So thank you very much, and I'm more than willing to hear your questions now. So I believe there is a procedure that has been designed, because we thought there might be some interest today.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to have you, Ms. Machado. I'm going to start off with a question, and then we're going to open it up to the press. My question to you, Ms. Machado, is you know the Venezuelan people more than anyone, and that's apparent from the very You know the Venezuelan people more than anyone, and that's apparent from the very strong support that they've shown for you time and time again. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about, I mean, as you know, your country has been destroyed by socialism, Cuba, Russia, and Iran looting your nation, your wealth. Do you see, and the primary victim of this has been the Venezuelan people, do you see a future in which that at all possible, where a free and fair election and return to democracy in Venezuela restores anything but a strong, staunched U.S. ally and a country that leaves behind the shackles of socialism?
Well, thank you very much. Can you hear me? I'm hearing like an echo here. Yeah.
We hear you.
It's fine? Okay. Well, I'm very glad. No, there's a problem with an echo, right? No, please. So comfortable sitting down. You want me to stand up? You prefer that I stand up? No? That's better now? Okay. Look, I'm very glad we start with this issue because I understand that there are many concerns regarding the transition in Venezuela and compared to previous events in all parts of the world. And I always insist in the difference between what is Venezuela today compared to Middle East countries that went through change in governments or regimes. We're talking about a society that is perhaps the most cohesive in the region. I would dare to say even in the world. I ask you to think any other society in which 90% of the population wants the same. Not only that they reject the actual regime, but we want the same. There are not religious tensions within the Venezuelan society, or racial, or regional, or political, or social. I mean, there was one longing that brought Venezuelans together, and that was, we want our children back home. And it was that demand that I heard all around Venezuela in 2023, when we were moving forward to the primary process, that made me realize how powerful it was to unite a country, to tear down the barriers that the regime had built to divide us. You know, between rich and poor, black and white, left and right, military and civilians. And we brought a country back together. That's why I always said, you know what, Maduro's going to go. We're going to get rid of him one day or the other. What's important is the country that's coming afterwards. And it's a country based on shared values. We want to live with dignity. We want to live with the result of our work, our effort, a society based in merit and not if you know the chavista who is in certain place at certain time. Women do not want handouts. They don't want to live in a give their children a box of food that has a high cost, because then you have to lower your head and repeat what the regime wants you to say, or dress as they expect you to dress. They want to live with their job well done. That's dignity. And that's what Venezuela deserves and wants today. And that's what we represent. So, of course, the result of this hard process will be a society based on these values. A society that is profoundly pro-America. And I want to insist on this. Delcy Rodriguez, yes, she's a communist. She's the main ally and representation of the Russian regime, the Chinese and the Iranians. But that's not the Venezuelan people, and that's not the armed forces as well. So I am profoundly confident that we will have an orderly transition. This is a complex phase we are right now. Some of the dirty work is being done by them. But then the result of a stable transition will be a proud Venezuela who is going to be the best ally the United States has ever had in the Americas.
We're going to have a person come up and.
Sorry for that. I'm gonna leave.
Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you very much for coming. I realize there's a lot of interest. We're going to try to get to every question. I'm going to go through a list. There's outlets that have more than one reporter accredited, so I would like to please ask you to raise your hand so we can get one of our kind staff to bring the microphone to you as I call you out. Julio Vaqueiro from Telemundo, please.
Hola, Julio.
Hola, María Corina. Qué gusto verte aquí en Washington, D.C. El presidente Donald Trump, su gobierno, está hablando y trabajando con Delcy Rodríguez, así lo han dicho ellos. Usted le dio el Premio Nobel de la Paz al presidente Trump en su encuentro ayer. ¿Qué le dio el presidente a usted? ¿Un reconocimiento de su legitimidad como opositora con el mandato de encabezar esta transición en Venezuela?
Gracias, Julio. Yo no vine a buscar nada para mí. Vengo aquí en representación del pueblo de Venezuela, que eligió a Edmundo González Urrutia como presidente electo. ¿Perdón? ¿A que lo baje? No, los teléfonos. Ah, los teléfonos, ok. Entonces, repito, yo vine en representación del pueblo de Venezuela, que nos dio un mandato. Primero el 22 de octubre del 2023. Ay, no. Ya va, chicos, un minuto. Vamos a ¿se escucha bien o no?
Cambiamos
ya, vamos a cambiarlo. Ok, ahora está mejor. ¿Ahora sí? Ok, voy a repetir la pregunta la respuesta a la pregunta de Julio. Les decía, yo vine a reunirme con el presidente de los Estados Unidos en representación del pueblo de Venezuela, que nos dio un mandato. El 22 de octubre del 2023, cuando yo recibí más del 92% de los votos en las primarias, y el 28 de julio de 2024, cuando Edmundo González Urrutia, en las condiciones más extremas y fraudulentas, recibió el 67% de los votos de los venezolanos, y lo probamos. Vine a recibir de parte de él un mensaje para los venezolanos, y es la seguridad de que contamos con los Estados Unidos para avanzar en una ruta donde se haga respetar la soberanía nacional, la libertad, la democracia y la justicia. Hay un proceso muy complejo en marcha, lo sabemos, pero se están dando pasos. Evidentemente, para los venezolanos es una situación cada día, para muchos venezolanos de vida o muerte, y ahí hay una enorme urgencia ética. Pero entendemos que este es un proceso complejo al cual nosotros somos parte y queremos y estamos contribuyendo. Gracias.
Nick Schifrin from PBS, please.
Hola, Maria Corina. Thank you so much. It's great to see you in person.
You see how I don't even have to listen to her? I already know. Let me tell you something. Maria Machado, she truly is going to be a great leader for Venezuela. She has a great heart. I meet her, I want to hug her. And I know a lot of Venezuelans just like her. Men, women, people of good heart. I know a few in here that are on TPS. And I know where they work. And I met them. And we are friends. And let me tell you, there's a lot of beautiful, heartwarming Venezuelans. They're very passionate. They're very passionate about their country and taking care of their people. They are the way I am. See, that's the way I am. You know, and I respect the law. I want you to understand something. See, she doesn't come over here demanding things. But she talked with President Donald Trump. It is very obvious what Trump is doing. See, he's not going to let Democrat politicians tell him what to do. He's going to stop them. He's playing chess while you guys are playing checkers. He has to be one step ahead. And I am breaking the rules right now by trying to explain it to you libtards that are visiting my channel. But I can guarantee you democracy will come back to Venezuela. And as she said, this is after giving the prize to President Trump. This is after hearing that Delcy is still president. This is after hearing all the whining and crying and bitching from all you dumb-ass Americans and illegal immigrants that come into my chat. You don't know what the hell has been happening in Venezuela. I invite you to go learn their damn history and see what has happened to these people. They are being forced by these damn communists. And there is one way to get prisoners out of there. And that whether you like it or not, whether you think it's diplomacy or not, the strength that we show is a military power in this world has been making deals in Venezuela. And when everything is straightened out, they will have a voting. They will have the people say who is going to be their president. But you got to play it right. You morons have no brains to think strategy. You guys don't see the future. Right now, you're like socialist communists. You guys are a bunch of retards that you think because something looks good to you right now is going to stay good forever. Well, guess what? You can have apples and they look good, but if you put a rotten one in there, in time, right now you don't see it, but in time, the rest of the apples will also be rotten. That's you. We think, you know what? We got to separate this, and then little by little, we're going to go ahead and take care of these apples. You guys have no brain to think of the future. You guys support illegal immigration because you don't see the damage right now. But by the time that you see it, it's going to be too late. And that's why we cannot shut up. That's why we cannot stand down. That's why we got to fight against you libtards every single day because you guys don't get it. You guys don't get it. It's useless trying to explain it to you, especially when the illegal immigrants that are coming to my chat don't speak English.
And after seeing you virtually for the last few years, two questions, if I could, similar to what you just answered, but in English. You had a very good meeting with the president yesterday, but he still maintains a positive relationship and positive language about Delcy Rodriguez. The CIA director was just there. So what's your message to the president and to the United States when U.S. policy is still to support the Chavismo government that still exists in Caracas? And I have to ask, your statement last night said that you felt like you were going to die at one point when you left Venezuela in the boat. Can you just tell us exactly what happened in that moment when you were in that boat? Thank you.
Well, regarding all the details of how and when I left Venezuela, for the protection of those involved and help me get here, I will wait until the regime is no longer in capacity to harm them, to share that in detail. Yes.
my God, dude. I this guy. Did you guys read this comment? Listen to this comment. Hold on. Let me see if somebody deleted it. Hold on. I'm going to read this comment. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? Hold on. I can't find the comment. But this idiot says, eventually. Oh my God! These people just don't leer. Why do all the libtards graduate from the Leering Center? Why do these guys? Oh my God! How can I not make fun of you guys? You guys are really retards. Like there's no other way for me to say it. Like you guys' brain just doesn't click. He said, eventually the apples are gonna rot anyway. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Please tell me that nobody that are my members or my subscribers, tell me none of you in my family thought the same way that this guy said that. That's what you got from all that. He thought that we were going to just let the other apples rot. I don't think he understands the metaphor of this. Oh my God, dude, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. I want these guys to learn something, man. This guy said the apples are gonna rot anyway. Oh my God, dude. Whoo, you can't. I don't understand where he went with that. Do you know why we don't want the apples to rot right away? Because the whole idea is that we want to eat them. We're not just going to separate them and then just leave them there unattended. We want to separate them so that we can preserve them so we can eat it before they all get rotten. The mind of a libtard is just amazing. It is just amazing. So this guy is going to separate the rotten apple from the good apples just to let the rest of the apples rot away anyway. The mind of a libtard. Never try, never fail. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Maria. I love you. You're the best. You're the awesomest. I am so happy that you understand the president. Now, that's a woman with brains right there. And even if she's telling you guys, you still don't listen. You still don't get it. This woman knows more than any of us. And she gets it. She gets Trump. She didn't come over here and get mad. I can't believe he won't allow me. She knows. She knows how to play the game. Oh my gosh. Man, you guys got to go back to that Leering Center and come back when you leer some more. And hopefully you know how to use and say, I mean, forget it. Let's just let her talk. She's almost done.
There was a certain moment in the trip, in the vote, where I was hurt because the waves were very high, over 6 feet, and there was a strong wind, and we got lost in the ocean. We lost the sign of the GPS, and the satellite phone stopped working, and Starlink antenna did not work as well, all at the same time. So it was a very risky, dangerous, and scary moment, I have to say. And it lasted several hours. But at the end, as I say, we have moved ahead de la mano de Dios. And that's why I believe it is a miracle, and I'm here. And I know that someday I will be able to tell you all the details and thank personally all those that risked their lives in order for this to happen because they knew it was very important for our cause that I was able to leave my country at that moment. Regarding your first question, look, this has nothing to do with a tension or decision between.
Not me. That's when they ended. Not my fault. You guys ever watch a movie called Collateral Damage? Sangre o Libertad. Well, these guys are sangre o libtard. Oh man, that was funny, man. That was funny. All right, and now we're gonna go ahead and give you a little, a little flavor of what the great governor of Washington posted on his Facebook account. Listen to this little bit of news and how happy he really is about it, and then I'll read a couple of comments, including one of the ones that I put on there.
All business owners. There needs to be a tax break for small business owners. They're the backbone of our economy. I propose that, and frankly, we'll be insisting on that. Also, a rebate back to thousands of Washingtonians in the form of a check they receive to help them out during a challenging time. So those are the kind of things that I'm proposing for how we use that revenue that comes in from putting a tax on the wealthiest Washingtonians. I think the time is right. In that big bad betrayal of the bill that we saw in Congress just recently, they have massive tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans. In fact, it was the largest transfer of wealth in our nation's history from the lowest income Americans to the wealthiest. So I think the time is right. I think the people support it. I think the votes are there in the legislature. So I'm confident we'll get that done. There needs to be a tax.
Let me break down what he said to you. First of all, he says the big beautiful bill, which he calls it the bad bill. I get it. He's a libtard. He says that caused a lot of problems. Okay, all right. They still blame Trump's for the tariffs. Now watch this. They blame Trump's for tariffs on food, gas, anything power, anything that has to do with everything is blamed on tariffs, not on local taxes, not on regulations, not on BO taxes, not on these other excise tax, and not on the. He's trying to pass a new tax for businesses. Wait for this. Small businesses, by the way. He says that small businesses will benefit from a tax break. But the problem with that is that he lies and contradicts himself on that, because a business of 25 employees, it's already a millionaire company, meaning that if you make $1 million in gross, not profit, in gross, if you have 25 employees, you are making more than that. And that is still considered a small business. See, this is the way the libtards think. And this is what I'm telling you. That the leftists, the ones that are on the leftist side, the socialist, communist Democrats that we have, as long as they see that there's money, they don't think about the future. See, we think about the future. That's why we know that when this tax comes in, it's going to hurt the small businesses. And let's not play stupid. Thousands of small businesses have gone out of business, and this was before Trump even came in office here in Washington State. So it has nothing to do with tariffs. But because libtards get so excited to throw dirt on Trump, they can't think. It's like a moth to a flame. They know they're going to burn, and yet they still go to it. It's like a little Bugs Life cartoon that says the little fly that was going up to the light, I can't help it, it's so beautiful. That's the libtards in a nutshell. You don't think about the future. People that think illegal immigrants, millions of illegal immigrants, no big deal. Hey, no big deal. But when shit hits the ceiling, that's when they start panicking. And that is too late to panic. You got to think preventive. You got to think ahead. It's like you're reaping you're harvesting your crops, you got to keep some of them safe. Then you can sell some of it. But you got to maintain something for the future so that you can eat until the next harvest. Because there will be a time when you won't have. You see what I'm saying? Liptards don't think that way. Liptards are like locusts. Now the good thing for you liptards is there is a cure. You don't have to be a liptard for the rest of your life. You can change the way you think. You can change the way you think. Don't be a locust. A locust comes in and sees the field with plenty of food, and they come in a wave of millions. They eat all the crops. They save nothing. And when that crop is dead, they leave to the next one. The United States is the crops. The illegal immigrants and all of his enemies that come here are the locusts, and you libtards are part of that. This guy blew up a $9.5 billion tax increase that just passed. It's no joke. It just passed in 2025. And the new taxes, progressive taxes, started this month. And they already ran out of money. You know what the biggest problem that I have with that? Hey, so you went ahead and put the biggest tax raise hike in Washington state history. $9.5 billion gone. Okay, shit, what did you do with the money? Can you tell us? Where did the money go? No. What? That's not an answer. NGOs. We talked about this for so long. My sister Trinity and I have been talking about this as well. And so now that they ran out of all the money, he comes and says, listen to this, man. Please listen. Listen to this, please. He comes and says, now he doesn't say we're going to fix it. We're going to figure out. We're going to audit. We're going to make sure that we know where the money went. They don't know shit. They don't know where the money went. But now he says, all right, we're going to go ahead and, yeah, they stole the money, that's for sure. Now he says this, we're going to raise another $2.5 billion. But this time, he says, listen to it, but this time, we are going to keep a close eye on where all the money is going to go. And my question is, you libtard, tell me, did you not think about that with the first $9.5 billion taxes that you raised on the people? No, I guess at that time, it was not important to say, we are going to make sure we know where this $9.5 billion taxes is going. See, when they were in the House with the representatives voting and trying to pass this, they were talking about this many millions of dollars is going to be to benefit the school, and it's going to benefit the bridge up by Seattle, and it's going to be infrastructure, and it's going to go here, and it's going to go there, blah, blah, blah. You have to understand something. There are some taxes that they pass by us without asking because it's legit. They don't have to tell us the NGO expenditures because these are all different contractors. But guess what? I beg to differ. That is our tax dollars, and you should give a damn about NGOs losing your money. So if you have contractors that can't give you a report of where your money went, I would have a problem with that contractor and the contractor that has a subcontractor and the subcontractor that has another subcontractor. Where the money at? Where the Benjamins at? I want to know where the money went, period. By the way, that will be in my campaign. I will be auditing. I'm going to call for an audit on every single Republican and Democrat politician in Washington state. Everybody, including the AG. Everybody. And I want federal government in here. I want the FBI. I want the CIA. I want everybody. I want the President of the United States of America to get involved in Washington state and help me find out what the hell has been going on in the last couple of decades. With that being said, don't be a fool and know when to question your government. All right, that's it. That's all I had on Facebook. Man, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. All right, now we're going to go into Libtards. Right now is the chance for you guys to run away because this is Mega Nation Podcast with Dennis Herrera. And, well, we really love our POTUS. And so we are going to listen to the live from this morning. The first one, the one that we haven't seen yet, okay? The one that we haven't seen. We already saw one, but this was the first one. At least I haven't seen this yet. All right. Now, after the big outburst, I apologize. I get excited, a little bit passionate. One day, when you guys watch me campaign, then you guys can go ahead and have fun. Woo! Man, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. I know President Donald Trump is not going to be president by the time there's a vote for the next election here in Washington State. But as sure as heck would love to have his sponsorship. I tell you that right now. Oh, my goodness. I want to see these libtards go against me. I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait to go. And let me tell you something. I'm just a migrant. Just a migrant that came to the States, followed the law legally, never had any criminal, no felonies, nothing. Just an immigrant that, they believe on the American dream and respects the land and respects and loves the people and wants the businesses to succeed and be prosperous and God's blessings to be upon everybody. I'm just a Joe that started, first job doing dishes and then working at a fast food restaurant, and I did some construction and I did some sheetrock and I no big deal, some framing, that's not big deal, some painting, commercial buildings, leasing agent, managing a paint company, you know what, just a bunch of little different jobs, right? I'm just a nobody. I'm just a regular citizen, just a little Joe with the citizenship, which, by the way, before you ask, is right here, proof. And I got my big certificate, and they told me, don't laminate it. I said, okay, I won't laminate it. But I still have my certification that I was naturalized American citizen, and that gives me the right to run for office. And when I run for office, I'm going to run against a lawyer. Whoo, I can't wait. You know what? Laws are great, and he's going to beat me in laws, but that's why we're going to get representation. We're going to have our own lawyer to go with us. And when it comes to common sense, I just need the lawyer to be there for representation of the law, and he can correct me on the law if I'm wrong. But I will use common sense that there's this clown, and we're going to make Washington State great again. All right, Mr. President. Oh, this is going to be about an hour, guys. So if you guys want to take off, by all means, you are more than excused. Thank you for stopping by and for showing your support. This is just for what they call us, mega maggots. Sure, we'll take it. Whatever makes you sleep better at night. All right, let's go. Trump, MAGA. Let's go. Let's enjoy this.
One today. We worked on it long and hard. For years, they've been working on it. And I see Kevin's in the audience, and I just want to thank you. You were fantastic on television today. I actually want to keep you where you are, if you want to know the truth. Kevin Hassett is so good. I'm saying, wait a minute. If I move them, these Fed guys, certainly the one we have now, they don't talk much.
It's like you libtards. You guys never listen. I'm going to have a lawyer, I said. You know what? Forget it. I don't even know why I try to read that comment. I don't know. I apologize, my patriots. All right, guys. I don't want to see any libtard comment on this chat. They can leave. I don't need their views. Honestly, I don't, okay? I'd rather have 10 people that actually put super chats or that I can have a conversation with. Any negativity on the chat, just get the hell out of my chat. Every single one. Go ahead, Trinity. Just 45-47 on that. I want nobody here on the libtard side, okay? And you can go ahead and spam all those emojis that I made for you guys with all of my love. Let me see who wants to be a moderator here. so we can keep this chat clean. Level 5 activated, Brian. Get it. Anyone who uses the term libtard can be dismissed on the basis of stupidity, says the stupidest person on the chat. Okay, Manuel, I automatically know it's you. Bye-bye. For 30 minutes. Okay, you know what? Let me do some cleanup. Let me do some cleanup before we start watching the video. Let's see. Here we go. Laren, get the hell off my chat. Thank you for stopping by. Have a nice life, my friend. The truth hurts. I understand, says PJ. Okay, that I don't understand that. Keon, even that is a negative. I don't want to hear shit. Everybody can go. Okay, guys, this is your invitation to get the hell off my channel. All right. Ice baby, and here we go. Let's put some ice on the chat. There you go, buddy. There you go. Get some ice in there. Get it. Get all of it. Get it. And the libtard scream. No! There you go.
I would lose you. It's a serious concern to me. So I just want to say thank you very much. You've done incredible. We don't want to lose him, Susie. But we'll see how it all works out, okay? Thank you, Kevin. Great job. And thank you for all being here as we discuss the largest investment in rural health care in American history. This is the big one. We're delighted to be joined by many incredible members of the healthcare community, including doctors, nurses, and pharmacists from all across America. We're also very happy to have with us some very talented people. A man who is really good at this, extremely non-controversial, which is, I wanted somebody non-controversial. So I chose Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. to head the whole shebang up. And he also happens to be a great guy. Brooke Rollins, who's doing a fantastic job at agriculture, and thank you. And how are the prices coming?
They're coming, sir, they're coming down.
Don't forget, we inherited a mess.
We sure did.
Remember eggs? They were up 4 times higher than they ever were. And in my first day, they said, what are you going to do about eggs? I said, I didn't cause the problem. We inherited a mess, but the prices are coming down.
Yes, sir. Wholesale prices are down 86%. Retail a little bit less than that, but yes, you're making America affordable again.
With you in charge, I have no doubt, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, a really good man, a really brilliant guy, Dr. Mehmet Oz. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Oz. And thank you also to Governor Jim Pillen, Senator Dan Sullivan, and Representatives Rob Bresnahan, Mike Lawler, John McGuire, and Nick Begich. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it very much. Now, we have other congressmen here, I see, and a couple of senators, and we appreciate everybody being here. Everyone wants to be a part of this. It's so important. It's maybe, I don't know, for many people, there's nothing more important. I would say maybe defense. We need defense, and we need offense, too, by the way. As part of the great, big, beautiful bill, we have increased funding for the health care by an unprecedented $50 billion. That's rural health care. Nobody thought that was going to happen, and we got it done. So we have rural health care for those that were trying to make a case that we weren't taking care of the rural community. I'm all about the rural community. We won the rural communities by numbers that nobody's ever won them before, and we're taking care of those great people. So we already did this. We increased funding for rural health care by an unprecedented, record-setting $50 billion over 5 years, which will benefit Americans in all 50 states. And this was made possible by cutting massive waste, fraud, and abuse from Medicaid and reinvesting those funds to revitalize hospitals in our cherished rural communities and hospitals in rural communities. And I want to say, with all of the fraud that we're seeing in Minnesota and California and other places, I actually think that if we do an unbelievable job, you could almost balance your budget, Kevin. If you take a look at the kind of numbers you're talking about, nobody ever saw anything like it. They're all corrupt politicians, from the governor of Minnesota to the governor of California to everybody. They're just corrupt politicians. And you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in fraud. Waste fraud. and abuse. But in fraud, you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. Under the Unaffordable Care Act, which is Obamacare, it's called the unaffordable. It is unaffordable, remember that. Rural hospitals and communities were devastated by soaring costs, and that continues. Despite colossal increases in government spending since Obamacare was passed, only 7% of the annual Medicaid spending on rural hospitals has gone to rural hospitals. So there's only a very little. They didn't care. Obama didn't care about the rural community, to be totally blunt. What he did care about is insurance companies. And this was a bill to make insurance companies wealthy. And they did. They made insurance companies very wealthy. I would say they don't like me too much because they spent hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're going to have that money spent to the people and given to the people, not we're going to circumvent the insurance companies. Partially as a result, rural health care facilities have suffered from low occupancy rates, workforce shortages, and failing programs that put Band-Aids, literally put Band-Aids over the problems in those communities, and we're not going to have that. We're taking great care of them. With the Rural Health Transformation Program, we are getting rural communities the health support they need, and we're getting it immediately. These funds will go to empowering rural hospitals, strengthening their workforce, modernizing facilities and technology, and ensuring that rural Americans get world-class health care in their own community, right smack in their own community, like they've never had it before, and they've been hurt very badly by the Unaffordable Care Act. Every single Democrat in Congress voted against the lifeline for rural communities, and I hope everyone knows this, and this is not about elections, but I hope you remember this in the midterms, because the Democrats are just so horrible toward the rural community. But I want to take a moment to thank the incredible House and Senate Republicans who worked so hard on making this historic investment possible. That's what they did, and they did work hard. I don't think, got a Democrat vote, did we? Did we get one Democrat vote? We got all Republican votes. It was an amazing feat, and I want to thank Mike, our Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and John Thune for really doing a great job. It was tough. You know, we have small majorities, and I want to thank the congressmen that are here for doing, in particular, for working so hard and getting this done. Yesterday, I also announced our framework to lower health care prices for all Americans, including those in rural America, and we're calling it the Great Health Care Plan. You know, we had to come up with a name, and everybody wanted to say, oh, well, can we put something about lowering costs, because we're lowering costs very substantially. So I had Bobby, and I had Oz. We had everybody in there. We had a whole group of people, and we're trying to come up with, so we're saying, the cost reduction plan that gives you good health care. And I said, it's too long. It's not going to sell. I said, we had more plans. And they wanted to get the words cost reduction in there, Lola, especially you. They wanted cost reduction in, and then they wanted great health care in. I said, look, you can have one or the other, but it gets too long. We're talking about the name of a plan. So we got it down to 7 or 8 words, and which is far too long. Nobody can remember that much. And I said, how about just call it, because this is the Great Health Care Plan. Now, a great plan has to be cost-effective, otherwise it can't be a great plan. That's the way I looked at it. So we have a very glamorous name. It's called the Great Health Care Plan, not the Unaffordable Care Act. I don't like that name. This is called officially the Great Health Care Plan. That means low price and great health care. So you're going to have, at a lower price, great health care. First, our proposal codifies the massive discounts on prescription drugs that my administration is achieving through our most favored nation provisions. Okay, we can go into this. We can go into this for hours, but the bottom line is we'll be paying the lowest price of any nation in the world. Whoever's paying the lowest, we match it. This could have been done years ago. I was going to do it in my first administration, but when COVID came toward the end, I said, I can't believe it wasn't exactly a good time to be doing it. But I said, why isn't somebody doing it? And the reason they're not doing it is that no other nation would agree. France, as an example, paid 10% of what we paid. Germany was paying 13 or 14% what we paid. In other words, we paid many times more, not a little bit more, not 10% more, 10 times more. A pill would cost 10 times more in New York than it would cost in London, as an example, than it would cost in Munich. And this went on for many decades. This was right from the beginning. And the reason it went on was a little bit of the healthcare companies, but it was other nations. And I understand that. If I were heading Germany, I'm not going to double and triple and quadruple my healthcare. They got the healthcare companies to pay. It just took place over a long period of time, got worse and worse. And it just hit numbers that were just absolutely unsaleable. And if you remember, the doctors in the audience remember, they say, well, we have to do research and development. I said, well, what about research and development for Germany? Well, we've decided to put up so the pill would cost 5 times more because of research and development, and 5 times more for other reasons. They had all these phony reasons. And finally, I said to the healthcare companies, we can't do it anymore. We can't do it. And it started, really, I tell the story. It wasn't meant to be funny. People find it funny. But a friend of mine who's a very smart guy, very, very rich, very powerful man, actually, but he was very fat. And he took the fat, I call it the fat drug. I won't give you which one. It was Ozempic. I won't tell you that. And he went to London on one of his many business trips. It's all he does is business. He can't walk across the street, but he's a great businessman. And he said, President. I said, what? He used to call me Donnie. Now he calls me President. So I said, you've come a long way. He goes, but I have a problem. What's your problem? In New York, I pay $1,300 for this drug. Now, this means nothing to him. This is like a penny out of your wallet. The guy's worth hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. He said, and in London, sir, I pay just a fraction of that. I said, what are you paying? $87. I said, well, is it the same drug? I knew exactly what he was getting at because it bothered me for a long time. He said, it's the exact same drug. And because of his wealth and his business smarts, he had it checked. It was made in the same plant by the same company. It's identical. And here I pay $87, and in New York I pay $1,300. So it was too much to bear, because after I told him that the drug does not work on him, because I saw him recently, he's actually fatter than ever. I said, the drug is not working on you. You're going to have to go to something else. But it does work on a lot of people. And he said, thanks, you make me feel good. I said, well, I got to be truthful. You always tell the truth, right, Mr. Congressman? Oh, look, two of the great congressmen. But the drug, we have to do something about it, because that's the same with I would say, Bobby, every drug, essentially. Doesn't have to be in that proportion. In some cases, it's much worse. Because what happened, I might as well get off this crap because it doesn't explain it properly. Because what happened is these countries are very smart, and the drug companies would go to them and they said, look, we're paying $10 for the pill. We're not paying more. Charge America. Mm-hmm. And this happened one time, then the next year. This is over 40 years. All of a sudden, they're paying $10 for a pill, and we're paying like $130 for the same pill. It just happened over years, slowly. And it got to a point over the last 10, 12, 15 years where it just was unbearable. And I went to a great executive at Eli Lilly, the top man. He's a very smart guy. And I confronted him, and he had the same line that they always had, research and development. I said, look, we got to stop this nonsense. We're paying 10 times more for things in Europe. It's not research and development. And if it is research and development, they should pay their fair share of that too. And he said to me, and he's a great guy, he said, look, you're right, we can't defend it anymore. I said, you're admitting it? Because these guys had all of them. They must have taken a class together. Must have been, it's probably illegal what they did, Lola, you'll check it, right? They must have gone to school together and said, this is the way we're going to fight this crazy thing where the United States pays 10, 12, 13 times more for a drug. Same drug. Same drug made in the same plant. And he said, here's the problem we have. The nations are brutal. When we go in and say, we have to give you an increase, they say, no, put it on America. We're not paying you anything. And they say it with such power. And they actually shut us off from selling the drug. And it just happened over and over again. It got a little worse, a little worse, a little worse. All of a sudden, we're paying many times more for the same. I said, well, it's not going to happen anymore. He said, the problem is, sir, you'll never get the nations to agree. It's impossible. They're very tough, and they are. And they'd have to agree to a doubling or tripling of their drug prices in order to get you down, because the world is a bigger place than us. So it's not like you cut it in half. Actually, if they raised it a little bit, we'd go down a lot. You understand that? I think people understand that. So you raise it like from $10 to $20 or $10 to $30, but we'd go from 130 down to 30 or down to 20. So, because the numbers are much bigger, the numbers on their side are much bigger. So they'd need a doubling or tripling or quadrupling. Now, if you're the head of France, the last thing you want to do is say, I'm going to quadruple the cost of a drug. And that's the way it is. But I said, I know, but it's not fair. And this is taking place. And the head of Eli Lilly, and I really mean it, an unbelievable executive, an unbelievable guy, one of the most successful companies, and who's, by the way, spending hundreds of billions of dollars right now. He's building, he told me the other day, he's building 6 major plants in the United States. You know why he's doing that? Because of tariffs. He's doing that because of tariffs. Without tariffs, he wouldn't be doing it. Nobody understood tariffs until I came along.
We need to be
Nobody
direct about what has happened.
President McKinley, he understood him a long time ago. And because of him, we were the richest nation that we ever were at that period of time. And then when he died, he was assassinated. Teddy Roosevelt came over and he inherited a war chest. And he built the Panama Canal, which is the single most expensive thing ever built in the history of the United States, relatively. We spent what would be the equivalent of $5 trillion building the Panama Canal. It was also the most successful thing probably we've ever built, and to this day. And then Jimmy Carter gave it away for $1. This is the same theory we have on favored nations. The great Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, gave it away for $1. We lost 38,000 men. In those days it was men. I hate to say this, but mostly men. They didn't have a lot of women workers on the Panama Canal. But we lost 38,000 people. They died from malaria and snake bites. It was a combination of that, a vicious snake, one of the most vicious. You get hit, you're dead. They died from snake bites. 38,000. They paid workers from the United States 3 times more than they made to come over to Panama and dig. For many of them, that was not a good deal. They died, 38,000. We gave it away for that. But that same stupidity having to do with the Panama Canal, and I could tell you about 100 other stories too. You don't have time. But that's what went into this whole thing with favored nations. So Europe and other nations all over the world were getting drugs from the same plant, same factory, same everything, same location, everything, same company, for a tiny fraction of what we're paying. So our people were paying a tremendous amount. So the gentleman from Eli Lilly and others, we had a meeting, and they all finally put up their hands. You got us. We give up. And they were great from that time. But we had a problem. The other nations weren't going for it. France turned it down. Germany turned it down. UK turned it down. European Union turned it down, the whole group. And they said, there's nothing you can do about it, sir. I said, yes, there is. No, there isn't. You'll never be able to get them up. Or never. I mean, the whole industry is going to be torn apart. I said, we'll get them up easily. Are you crazy? Of course we'll get them up. That's what I do for a living. I get people up. So I started with President Macron of France, and a very nice person. I like him a lot. I hope he's listening because he doesn't believe that, but I do. He's a nice man. And I said, Emmanuel, yes, Donald, thank you so much for calling. Oh, I said, you're not going to like this call. You're going to have to get your drug prices up. No, I will not do that. I said, Emmanuel, we're paying 13 times more than, 13 times, not 13%. 13 times more than you are for this pill. I rattled off some numbers that are crazy. You know the numbers I'm talking about, Oz. Oz would give me some numbers. I'd say, this is crazy. We're paying 10 times, 12 times, 13 times. No, 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 I will not do that. I said, look, you've got to do it. 100% you're going to do it. No, no, Donald, I told you I will not do that. I said, here's the story, Emmanuel. If you don't do it, I'm going to put a 25% tariff on all goods, wine, champagnes, and everything else coming into the United States of America. He said, Donald, I would love to do this for you. It would be a great honor to do it. And that's where it began. And I went through country after country. Susie was responsible for getting every one of those leaders on the thing. Susie, by the way, stand up, Susie. She is doing such a good job. She's the first female chief of staff, and she might be the best chief of staff too, but she's doing a great job. Thank you, Susie. So Susie got them on, and I just went one after another. I called Germany. No, 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 we will not do that. I said, no, we're going to put a 25% tariff, which is, by the way, about 7 times more than they would have to pay by raising their drug, like 7 times. This wasn't like a little bit more, 7 times more. And I may do that for Greenland, too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that. I'll give you a little, I'll take you out of that. In fact, that'll end up being the story. But actually, this is a much bigger story because we're reducing healthcare by numbers that you haven't seen. So I spoke to the top 10 countries. They all said no, and within about 2 minutes, they all agreed. And we were off to the races. And now we have favored nations. It's called most favored nations. So if France is paying, let's say, $20 or $30 instead of $10, we are going to pay that 20 or 30. We pay the lowest price, whatever the lowest price is. So if France is paying $100, but Germany's paying $20, we pay what Germany pays. So we go from a horrible situation on drugs, prescription drugs, to the lowest price anywhere in the world. Is that a correct statement, Oz? Because they're going to blame you. If you want to correct me, you can, but you won't be here for long if you do. They'll
You're
say,
correct, Mr.
Oz has
President.
left employment. No, but is that a correct statement?
That's an absolutely correct statement. And that's what we want to codify in the great health care plan.
Yeah.
That's
what
why
we're
it's so
codifying.
important.
That's
Because
right.
if the president's not here, there's a flight risk with these companies not obliging us anymore, because I think it's the strength of your personality, but also they know they will follow through with the threats if we don't act. So we believe other countries will change their opinions, and so will drug companies. So we've got to get it into legislation.
Well, if you have the wrong president, the countries have tremendous influence over us. They look, why did we go to an income tax system instead of a tariff system? We had the wealthiest nation. If you go back to the 1800s, 1887, we had money, so much money, we didn't know what to do with it. But the countries at that time, same, no different. They have a tremendous influence over this country. For whatever reason, I don't know, but they do. So if you have the wrong president, they'll change the system in 2 minutes. I mean, they'll change it. And the drug companies are very powerful, too. You have to deal with them. In this case, it was both. I mean, you had a problem with the drug companies, but you had a tougher problem, in theory, other than the fact that I understood how to deal with them. And I'm the tariff king, and the tariff king has done a great job. And I hope we win the Supreme Court case, because if we don't, be a shame for our country. Be a shame. We have a great, safe, beautiful country now. We're doing better than we've ever done. We hit 42 stock market highs during the 11-month period that I've been here. There's never been anything like it. Stock market's hitting a new high again today. So it's it's been incredible. So just to end it on this, because it's such a big subject and it can't be explained by reading. As good as my speechwriter is, he's fantastic, but he can't write it in one sentence what we're talking about. So we're going to get most favored nations. We will be taking prescription drugs down to levels never even contemplated. And that's all great for healthcare, because when you're paying a tiny fraction of what you had anticipated paying prior to today, prior to this month, this all took place over the last month and a half. And the sad part is that when we first announced it, and we did it in a little bit more general form, when we first announced it, the Times
did a story on page 22 or something, way back in the little story in the back of the newspaper. This is the biggest revolution in the history of medicine in this country because it's price. You're going to buy the drugs for a small fraction of what you were paying for them last month. And I tell the story of my first term. I was the one, after 28 years, that got drug prices down. It was either 1/4 or 1/8 of 1%. I got them down for the year. First time in 28 years. I was so proud of myself, I called a news conference. I said, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in 28 years, drug prices have gone down for the year. 1/8 of a point. In fact, I had a chart. It was the worst chart I've ever seen. It was a line that went from January to December, and it was dead straight. You had to get a little, like a carpenter uses to see. I said, this doesn't look good. It's not the greatest line, but I was proud of it because it did. It went down either 1/4 of a point or 1/8 of a point, tiny. And now think of what we're doing. We're bringing medicine down by many times. Nobody's ever seen. And there are two ways of calculating. You could say 1,000%, 2,000, or you could say 90% or 80%. The Democrats want you to say 90 or 80, but there are two ways of calculating it. You understand that, Dan? And we'll take either way. It doesn't matter. But we'll be paying a tiny fraction. So that's going to go into our plan. And what Oz said is very important. It's very important that whoever is in this office is, strong and intelligent. And if they're not, they could, it could be ended. But what we want to do is we want to have it codified, so it's very hard to change. And that's all part of the process. I think it's the greatest revolution because it's financial is, a big part of the drugs. And all of the doctors sitting there know exactly what I'm talking about. They have their patients in Europe, and they say, I can't believe it. I'm buying the same thing for, 15% of what I pay in New York or in Chicago. And they're all nodding their heads. That's right. That's not going to happen anymore. We pay now, just to end it, the lowest price in the world, whatever that is, that's what the United States of America will be paying. Isn't that an amazing, long story? I was going to say long, boring. It's not boring. To me, it's long and exciting. It's the biggest thing to happen to healthcare. I don't think there's anything we can do. We can do all of our different methods, but there's nothing we can do that can ever top what we do. And the press should treat it fairly instead of not writing about it, because they don't write about it because it's me. Primarily because it's me, but also because it's Republican. And they don't write about it, and they should be ashamed. But fortunately, the public understands it, and that's why we won the election in a landslide. So it's a great thing. Instead of Americans paying the highest drug prices anywhere in the world by far, by 10 times sometimes, we'll now pay the lowest cost paid by the lowest nation. So the lowest nation, whatever that is, I hope they negotiate a great deal. I hope somebody out there of all those nations is going to be a better negotiator than everybody else. And whatever they get, we get, Mike. Is that pretty good? Look at Mike. Even the first time I've ever seen him smile. And next, our plan would reduce your insurance premiums by stopping government payoffs to big insurance companies and sending the money directly to the people. So instead of, and this started, and I'm not really a healthcare maven, but I was always a good businessman. It started, I'm reading the paper, and I see the money that the insurance companies were making from us on Obamacare, and they're up by 1,000%, I think one was up 1,723%, 1,700%. And it's because of the massive amount of money that's sent to them by the United States government. And I said, why don't we just send it directly to the people instead? And I made that statement. It was a common sense statement. I didn't check with anybody. I didn't even call Oz or anybody. It just made sense. I made a statement, and it went viral. Can you believe it? It was so popular. In other words, we cut out the insurance companies. They're making a fortune. And, they're good people. They're business people. I don't blame them. But we cut them out. We pay the money directly to the people. The people love it. I said it, I said it as a non-professional in that business. And I made the statement like, all of a sudden, it's like the biggest story, that one, the biggest story. And I get a call from Caroline, who's around here someplace. She said, sir, we're getting inundated. Margot called me too. Margot, you called me too. Margot, everyone knows Margot. She's been here from the beginning, right from the beginning. But she said, sir, both of them. They said, sir, we're being inundated by what? You made a statement about health care being paid directly to the people into health savings accounts or whatever you want, health care accounts. And I said, I did. What's the story? He said, it's crazy. It's blown up. People loved it. And so that's where we started. So Obamacare was designed to make insurance companies rich. It really was. I mean, maybe not knowingly at the time by Obama, because he didn't know much about this stuff. It was designed by other people in Congress that are total pros that are bought off by the insurance companies. And the problem we'll have with this is we'll get no Democrat votes, even though it should be very bad for them if they don't. But maybe you'll get some. You'll call some of your friends, fellas, and Bob, you'll call some of your friends over on the other side. I don't know how they can reject it. It's just so popular. It's so compelling. So Obamacare was designed to make insurance companies rich with taxpayer subsidies, and I want that extra money straight to the health savings accounts for you. And you can choose your own health care. You go out and negotiate your own health care. It makes people entrepreneurs, mini entrepreneurs. They'll pick the health care that's best for them because it's so different. A young person, they need health care for different reasons, and an old person doesn't need certain things that a young person needs, and vice versa. To further reduce insurance premiums, my plan ends the giant kickbacks to insurance brokers and corporate middlemen. We're getting rid of the middlemen. How long have you heard doctors, all these doctors over there, look so smart. They're all brilliant people. I assume you're brilliant, otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? I assume we have the best. Do we have the best of the doctors? I would imagine, right? Hey, how cool is the White House, okay? They're always in operating rooms. I wouldn't want to be in an I don't like operating rooms, but they do. But how cool is the White House, right? The coolest place on earth. And this is where it all begins. This is where we came up with a little concept about a place called Venezuela. How did that work out? And this is going to be the same thing in terms of its precision. Its importance is so big, it's going to work just like that. The one is Venezuela was so amazing, but I equate that to other things because we can do other things like that. It doesn't always have to be a Minnesota where everything is corrupt, where they have health care centers that nobody shows up and somebody's making millions of dollars, where they have daycare centers where there are no kids. It's a scam. It's a big scam. It's like a horrible thing. We have a country that was great. We have a country that's now great again. It's really come a long way. Make America Great Again is almost going to be obsolete because our country is very close to, we were going to keep America great. We may have to switch to keep America great. But I don't know. There's something about MAGA we should never change it. Susie said, don't change. We like MAGA. Everybody likes MAGA. So we want to make this precision, just like a Venezuela, just like the attack on the Iran nuclear weapons, which wiped that out, just like all of the other things we do, they're precision. We want to make it the opposite of Minnesota, California, and all these places that are so badly run. So to further reduce insurance premiums, my plan ends the giant kickbacks to those insurance brokers and corporate middlemen that you've been hearing about for so long. It also funds the so-called cost-sharing reduction program to bring down the cost of the most common plans on the exchanges by more than 15%. And next, the great health care plan mandates unprecedented accountability and transparency from insurance companies and all health care providers. We want transparency. You're not allowed to ask a doctor how much is it going to cost. You're going to have your heart ripped out, and you're not allowed to negotiate. This is a giant scam. It's, in certain ways, look, nothing can compare to most favored nations. But when you give yourself the right to negotiate, you're not allowed to even ask how much it costs. You're supposed to go into a hospital and get operated on. Then they send you a bill and you have to file for bankruptcy. Not going to let that happen. So we're going to have insurance companies and healthcare providers going to have great, and hospitals, great transparency. The word transparency is a very important word. So they can't get away with ripping you off any longer. It requires insurance companies to make it easy for you to compare plans. You've got to be able to compare plans. You can't do that now. You're not allowed to do that. It's not even believable. I'll tell you what. I used to sit before I was a politician home, and I used to say, how is that possible? Things happen that I guess it's just the forces of nature, the forces of power, and you end up with very, very badly treated people, and they won't stand for it. But these forces are going to release an earthquake of reduced price health care. You're going to have massively reduced costs. This is no longer we're going to cut it by the famous 1/8 of a point. You're going to have massively reduced health care, and it's going to be massively better. You're going to have great health care at a much lower price, which is the two things. We want great health care and we want low price. You're going to have great health care at low price. Now you have terrible health care at a high price. You have horrible, horrible Obamacare health care. Like everything else he did, it was crap. It was a horrible plan. It was from day one and should have never been approved. It was a very sad night that night when there was a thumb raised. Most importantly, will require any hospital or insurer who accepts Medicare or Medicaid to prominently post all prices. You're going to post your prices at their place of business. Something they don't have to do, something they're not even allowed to do. We'll have the maximum price transparency, and the cost will come down just by that, not even talking about favored nations. The price will come down. So just in conclusion, I'm calling on Congress to pass this framework into law so that we can get immediate relief to the American people, including rural America. And I hope to get Democrat votes. They know, they saw it. I know a lot of Democrats. And they say that plan is unbelievable. Are you going to vote? Well, I'm going to try. They have tremendous pressure on them. Vote no. Vote no. We have a couple of Republicans. Thomas Massey always votes no. He's like, something wrong with the guy. If you have any clinical psychiatrists in there, maybe go check out his mind. But he always votes no. He's a very bad person. He's a very bad Republican, bad American when you always vote no. Just vote no. Do you approve? No. You know, there's not a thing you can say to him either, Lola. Look, Lola wants to be nice. He likes to get along with everybody. I don't. But they vote no. But so I don't know. You know, you have some people, they're very, I call him Rand Paul Jr. Rand Paul always votes. I don't know why he votes no, but I guess he thinks it's good politics. I got him elected twice. If I didn't endorse him, he wouldn't have been elected. But he doesn't reciprocate, and I guess that's okay. But I want to hear now, if I could, from Dr. Oz, and then we're going to have Dan Sullivan say a few words, and Rob and Mike, and Governor, you're going to say a few words, and we appreciate you being here very much. You're doing a fantastic job. I just want to leave by saying that this is the biggest thing to ever happen to healthcare in our country. It will not be covered that way by the fake news, and that's a sad thing. It will probably not be voted positively by the Democrats, and that's a sad thing. They all know how good it is. I think we can make health care into a Republican issue because the Republicans are going to be close to unanimous on this. It should be unanimous. Maybe we will be unanimous, but it'll be close. But we have a small majority. We probably need a little bit of help from the Democrats. So whatever we can do, we're going to do it. It's the biggest thing to happen to health care, maybe from the beginning. So Oz, would you take it away, please? Thank you very much.
Mr. President. Mr. President, thank you for standing up for American health care. And I just want to underline this fundamentally important issue. We need Congress to help craft the Great America Health Care Plan. And the Great Health Care Plan will work. It's a brilliantly conceived framework. And as it comes to the American people, they understand that they'll want it. And it should represent the analogous situation, similar to what you did so brilliantly last spring with the Working Families Tax Cut legislation that the President mentioned, has created the Rural Health Transformation Fund, which is why we're here today. I want to put a little bit of texture around why this is such an important issue, because the Rural Health Transformation Fund is the largest investment ever in American history in our rural communities. Yeah. 50% increase in the amount of money that Medicaid, which Secretary Kennedy and I regulate, into our rural communities, $50 billion. You can do the math, it's $1 billion per state, and that's an important factor because it got them competing. There are 60 million rural Americans And these folks do not have access to the same care that's available in urban and suburban America. Their life expectancy, if they're in a vulnerable situation, is 9 years shorter. Because your zip code actually is your destiny. It determines how long you're going to live, and we can make a dent in this because the high rates of chronic disease and other ailments that plague our rural areas are often driven because they don't have access to care. That's going to change because of the Sentinel legislation. And again, it's similar teams, the same leadership, same president, same Congress that passed the Working Families Tax Cut legislation, which is incredibly popular around the country and will make the great health care plan successful as well. From the day the legislation was signed to create this wonderful fund, this transformational fund, the team at CMS, which is under Secretary Kennedy, began working. And they're here today. Steph Carlton, outstanding Chief of Staff, Alina Chekai, and Emily Chan. That day started working. It was July the 4th, by the way, on the specific vision for the program. How do you actually get the money out the door in 6 months? The president was insistent, did not want the money in Washington. So we began working closely to make sure that we'd use the money not as a Band-Aid, but to empower those closest to the challenges that rural patients face. And who are those people, the 50 people who know rural health care the best? The governors. They wanted the money out of Washington into the governor's hands, and that was done in a remarkable way. The governors thought big. We have one here from Nebraska who was actually the first to start working on community engagement, which is part of that legislation as well. But we have to right-size health care in rural America, and that's an important phrase. All 50 states submitted amazing ideas to transform rural health care in ways that should have been done decades ago. The CMS team awarded each team their portion of the $50 billion investment precisely with the same precision that we took Venezuela leadership, a convicted individual, and with Iran as well, the same precision on time before the end of the year and got it out of Washington into the states. Now I want to take a step back and do a little thought experiment, Mr. President, if you want to do this. If you, and God forbid this happened, had turned your head the other way in Butler, Pennsylvania, it wouldn't have been an ear injury. Now, I've been to Butler. I'm from Pennsylvania. Butler General Hospital is a good hospital. They don't have neurosurgery there. If you have an injury to the head, you have a golden hour to get cared for. You were taken to Butler General Hospital. Because the injury, thankfully, was not as lethal as it was designed to be, it wasn't a problem. But if you'd had a head injury, you could have had your life saved. But without a neurosurgeon, and there is no neurosurgeon at Butler General Hospital, unfortunately, you wouldn't have an option because Pittsburgh is a far, far ride away. That's the closest metropolitan area where there are lots of neurosurgeons. But with this bill, this legislation rather, this funding of $50 billion, Pennsylvania got its share. And they're going to be able to build telemedicine hookups, even telerobotic surgery, that would allow an injured individual in a car accident or any other reason that is a head injury in Butler General and rural hospitals across the country to be able to access the best care our nation has to offer so rural America will not suffer. That's the promise of what this money offers to our nation. It's not just paying the bills, it's not just picking up the pieces, it's actually transforming using technology we have widely available in urban America, the way we save lives in rural America. Each state competed aggressively because for $1 billion, Mr. President, you'll fight pretty hard. And they gave us brilliant ideas that they're talking with each other about. So we're actually creating teams that now across state lines will connect because they're all Americans and they base their advances on several pillars. Secretary Kennedy can talk about MAHA because there's MAHA elements to this as well, but very precisely sustainable access. We asked states, how can we bring top care closer, like in the thought experiment I gave you for Butler General. In Pennsylvania and North Carolina, there are regional spoke models, and hub and spoke means you've got a big hospital in the city and they adopt or work closely with some rural hospitals to solve the challenges of fragmented care. And that actually works. You share administrative back office work, you group purchase your stuff, you save money, you exchange medical records. Alabama has no OBGYNs in many of their counties. So they're doing something pretty cool. They're actually having robots do ultrasounds on these pregnant moms. So we can actually get those images back to the big center. So we know if the child has a problem and we know if that mother's at risk. We have one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world, in the country with the best medicine in the world. It's often stated, people ask, does healthcare stink in America? Well, they don't like it. Would you leave America to get healthcare elsewhere? Nobody leaves. We have the best health care if you can get to it. We don't want rural America left behind anymore. As an aside, by the way, we've talked about the most favored nation drug pricing. One of the first companies and areas we used most favored nation drug pricing is fertility drugs. That's why we're going to have so many Trump babies, because we've dropped dramatically the most expensive part of the fertility space. And so America no longer will pay so many times more, in that case it was 10 times more, for the same fertility drugs that they're available for moms who want to get pregnant in Europe. I want to thank Terry, who's here as a nurse practitioner, Andrew, is a doctor, West Virginia, New Mexico. They're representatives of the workforce in rural America. But there are only two of them here representative because we don't have enough people working in rural America. It's a big challenge. So Delaware is creating its own medical school, their first ever medical school in a rural part of the state. So that can get more local talent that will stay local in those parts of Delaware. Michigan is launching the high school to healthcare pipeline grant program. They want to take kids out of high school in Michigan, local rural communities, and get them into the system, get them trained as nurses, because they'll stay home because they're from those communities, and they'll save lives for decades there. These are the types of programs that can get our rural communities and economies up to high gear and keep it that way long after this 5-year funding is done. And finally, tech innovation. Rural communities would benefit the most from high-tech advances, like we just discussed, as possibly if there was a head trauma case. Many states want to partner with our CMS data interoperability network. It was created by Amy Gleason, who spearheaded so much of the technology transformation in our government. It's going to support the president's pledge to provide transparency that he mentioned as part of the great health care plan. And Congress can ensure these are all available for decades to come if we can get this legislation through. As in the tech innovation forefront, just to give you a couple examples, Texas and Hawaii are making targeted investments in statewide telehealth, so everybody has telehealth. The best doctors for the best knowledge available where you are. We'll meet you where you are. If you're a vet and depressed and you're thinking of taking your life, we'll be there. Just let us know you're in trouble and we'll help. Alaska wants to deploy, and I'm going to hand it to Senator Sullivan in a second, wants to deploy unmanned pharmaceutical distribution kiosks and drones that will deliver medications, because in the North Slope of Alaska, you can't get there this time of year. So these technologies, they exist. Why are we using them in Midtown Manhattan? We should use them in rural Alaska. This administration is committed to collaborating with all 50 states, all 50, red and blue, all 50 states, to carry out bold plans to tackle the challenges that local communities face. We're not pouring funds blindly, however, into a broken system. We're going to carefully, precisely, as the president said, target this investment. With healthcare front running rampant, and I was in Minnesota this week, Mr. President, it's worse than we've heard, but Minnesota, pardon the pun, is just the tip of the iceberg. California is the varsity team when it comes to fraud, waste, and abuse. We're not going to let that happen. We want transparency for this $50 billion investment. We owe it to Capitol Hill, we owe it to this president, and we want accountability to be a top priority. For that reason, we've created an Office of Rural Health Transformation at CMS for long-term oversight. The office, led by Alina, check guide Alina again, was one of the people who helped create this program in the forefront, will guide, she was in the first administration, Mr. President. She's going to guide states in implementing their rural health transformation plans, coordinate all the federal and state partnerships, making sure there's appropriate oversight. In addition, every single state is going to have a dedicated project officer. We will be there with you. We're going to help you. Please engage us. You've got lots of lives at risk. It's a true state-federal partnership, unbelievable, extraordinary milestone for healthcare. Your zip code will no longer dictate whether you have excellent healthcare. Your zip code will no longer be your destiny. It's not going to dictate your life expectancy. Mr. President, I cannot thank you enough for the leadership that it took to get this $50 billion investment in rural healthcare. They don't make a lot of noise. They just want to get the job done. You stood up for them in Congress. God bless you for making this possible. Please do it again. Please do it again for the great health care plan. Let me hand it to Dan Sullivan, who's a spectacular member of the Senate, and obviously Alaska, they're pretty rural.
Thank you, Dr. Oz. And Mr. President, I am very honored to be here. This is a really exciting day. I want to thank you, sir, and your team. Worked really closely with Dr. Oz, Secretary Kennedy, many others. You know, this is a great example of how Congress, working closely with your administration, can achieve historic things. This is historic for our rural health care, certainly, in the Working Families Tax Cuts Act. You combine it with what you were talking about, sir, in terms of drug price reductions for all Americans. So these are two things that are happening right now and are historic, and I agree 100% with you, Mr. President. Hasn't got a lot of press, even though it is historic. It's going to really impact people in rural America, especially my state, this fund that I want to talk about. But what you've done on the drug pricing is even...
Ben, will you get Lisa Murkowski to vote for it?
She voted for it.
No, are you going to get her to vote for the great, big, beautiful health care bill that we're doing?
When we get that, I think MFN drug pricing, I bet
No,
every member of Congress votes on that.
Are you going to get her to vote for it?
We'll work on it, sir. We'll work on it. So let me actually talk a little bit about the context of what's going on in Alaska and how this relates to it. You know, after 4 years of being locked up and shut down by the previous administration, we are on the cusp of achieving some huge goals in my state that we've been working on for decades. We have this huge resource development boom going on the North Slope of Alaska. I was with a bunch of the Inupiat Alaska Native people who live up there. They're so excited about what's happening there. We are, as you know, Mr. President, building icebreakers. We're home porting some of those in Alaska. We have huge historic infrastructure and economic and national security investments happening. In particular, the gas line that you have championed so much, the big LNG project. All of these things are happening. It's really exciting. By the way, all of these issues I just talked about, all of those were in the Working Families Tax Cuts Act, so there's a lot of excitement. But, Mr. President, in addition to a strong economy, the thousands of jobs that these projects are going to have, we have to have a strong healthcare system in every state. And rural Alaska, as you mentioned, as Dr. Oz mentioned, has often, almost always been an afterthought when it comes to investing in healthcare in America. And that's not happening anymore after the Working Families Tax Cuts Act. As you said, Mr. President, as Dr. Oz said, this is the biggest investment in rural health care in American history. $50 billion, the award the great state of Alaska was able to get working with Dr. Oz, and the parameters of the bill was about $1.4 billion over 5 years to transform our health care system. So that's really exciting, but here's the big deal. This is not just about money. This bill isn't just about money. The reason it's so impactful is that it's focused on letting states and governors design the system that they need. Alaska has many unique healthcare challenges, Mr. President, as you know, but for decades, the mentality in Washington, D.C. is this approach to one size fits all. D.C. tells every state, here's how you have to do it, and it never works. It never works. It certainly doesn't work in my state. I'll just give you one example, the federal match on Medicaid. Our state typically has the lowest match in the country, even though we have the highest health care costs and highest delivery costs in the country. The one size fits all doesn't work. This bill is different. This bill that we wrote with your administration is all about allowing states to design a system that works for them with CMS guidance. And this will be a generational opportunity for every state to bring health care closer to home, to make it more responsive to the people who live in that state, and make it more affordable. I'll just end with this, Mr. President. Like I said, a lot of excitement. We got Governor Dunleavy, who sends his greetings, was hosting the stakeholders in Alaska who are going to be applying for these funds, working with CMS in our state. Over the last couple of days, we have over 300 people coming to these meetings on how to use this transformation fund to better health care in Alaska. And this is going to help my constituents, it's going to help every American, and it is really exciting. And I want to thank, again, you, Mr. President, and your team.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. We're going to have to go very fast. We're going to have to go we are way behind schedule, and I have a couple of meetings that are very important. Nothing more important than this, but Let's go. Come on, Bob. Rob?
Fire round.
Please.
Mr. President, thank you very much for having me here today. And I represent northeastern Pennsylvania. Your governor from Scranton, Pennsylvania, so never had the opportunity to meet. But I inherited a very similar problem. But before I was even sworn into office, I had two hospitals, Moses Taylor and Regional in Scranton, that were imminently facing closure.
Right.
And it's been, and working with Dr. Oz, Administrator Oz, and the CMS team has been absolutely incredible on so many levels. And thank you again for intervening and shepherding us through that process. But when you're looking at Pennsylvania, we're going to receive over $193 million. In 5 years, it'll be over $1 billion for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And when you think about northeastern Pennsylvania, clinics and regional hospitals, rural hospitals are the backbones of our communities. So making a targeted investment that is not just going to Band-Aid over poor operational procedures, it's going to actually transform rural healthcare. That's what we are so excited about. Pike County in my district is the largest growing county in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania where there's not a hospital. The nearest commute to a hospital is over 55 minutes away. So these are going to be funds that will be so imperative. The unprecedented investment is going to be incredible, and thank you for having me up here and being a part of this journey.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a great opportunity to be here with you and your team. Dr. Oz has been a tremendous asset. The $50 billion commitment to rural health transformation is critical. New York State is going to see about $212 million in the first year, which is vital for workforce development, access to care, primary, behavioral, maternal, emergency, telemedicine, et cetera. How were we able to do it? Because we rooted out waste, fraud, and abuse in the system. Democrats will just say we cut $1 trillion in Medicaid. That's not what we did. We said you need to be eligible, you need to be a citizen, you need to work if you are able-bodied without dependent children. We reined in the provider tax and state-directed payments, which have exploded over years. And we are taking this money, not only preserving Medicaid for the IDD community, our seniors, our children, our single mothers, but we're investing it in rural health. When you look at Obamacare, health insurance premiums have risen 96% since Obamacare took effect. Insurance revenues up 2,000%. Mr. President, you are 1,000% correct that the insurance companies are the problem. They wrote Obamacare. It's to their benefit, and the American people are being screwed. And so we can get a bipartisan agreement on what you are trying to do. When it comes to lowering drug prices, I will tell you, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies is in my district in Westchester County. I met with them in 2024, and I said, what would you do to lower drug prices? And the response was, go after the European price controls. You are spot on taking on the price controls that have been put in place. Most favored nation is the single best thing we can do to lower prescription drug prices here in America. The pharmaceutical companies will tell you that privately. And that is the fundamental fact. We need to go after PBM reform. Associated health care plans, we put that on the floor. Every Democrat voted against it, every Republican for it. Those would reduce costs by 11% because businesses, small businesses, would be able to pool together and purchase health care plans at a lower rate. We need to go after the PBMs and make sure that insurance companies are not owning providers and owning PBMs. That is what is driving up the cost of health care in this country. You've talked about IVF. I've been a big champion on this. We need to make sure the insurance companies cover it. I also have a tax bill to provide tax incentives to Americans, and what you have done to lower IVF costs on the drugs is critical. And you are 1,000% correct on expanding HSAs. I fundamentally believe that we can address the issues with Obamacare, make sure that the American people have access to care at a lower rate. We can get a bipartisan agreement to address the EPTC with expansion of HSAs so that the money goes to the people and not the insurance companies. We are committed to working to get this done, and I thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, gigantic thank you, and thank you for your incredible leadership. Your courage gives me more courage to say it the way it is. We're working very hard in Nebraska to run government like a business. This investment into rural America, which, by the way, in all of Nebraska, you poll 85%. I don't know what the hell's wrong with the other 15, but your 85 is a pretty good number. I think, be very, very brief. This plan will allow us to do common sense, pragmatic investments in rural Nebraska, and they will be sustainable. We will make sure that we don't need another dollar after 5 years. We are working on simple things like food. Real food is good medicine. We're working on making sure that all of our veterans, Nebraska is 500 miles long, 250 miles wide, no longer are veterans going to have to drive to Omaha to get care. We're going to take care of our veterans at home. Investments in technology so we can educate our children in rural Nebraska to provide health care are really, really important issues. And I think that the other is we've developed what we call 6 Regions, 1 Nebraska, and that will focus and take advantage of those. So we're working on what we have and then being able to use these resources to also help us with mental health and drug care as well. So we're incredibly grateful. Nebraska, we work hard. We're about faith, family, hard work, the American dream, and we don't ask for much help in rural Nebraska. So we're really grateful for this investment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. 1 minute.
How about 30 seconds? How about 30 seconds, sir? As a small town kid from Glen Rose, Texas, population 1,200 where I grew up, what you are doing today changes everything. And on behalf of our farmers and our ranchers in rural America, it is a new day and we're so grateful. The final thing I'll say is I think about Abraham Lincoln, who also sat in this room, and I think about other presidents throughout American history. And you think about how the fundamental course of American history has changed in certain pivot points throughout history. I think about you as the peace president, 8 wars solved, more coming. I think about you as the security president, a border that is secure for the first time and more than any time in American history. I think about you as the prosperity president. We talk about, Kevin, wages going up.
We'll give her
poverty
more
coming
than
down.
1 minute. In fact,
Oh no, I'm almost done.
she
I'm
can
almost
she
done.
can speak as long as she wants.
I'm almost done. The prosperity president and what's happening. Think about you as the affordability president. Everything is coming down. Inflation is coming down. The cost of groceries is coming down. Fuel, housing, etc. And sir, today, in the last 2 weeks, you will go down in history as the greatest president for the health of this country in history. Think about our new dietary guidelines from Bobby Kennedy and I, but with your leadership, putting real food back in the middle of our health care conversation. Whole milk for healthy kids with those dairy farmers 2 days ago. We were in Pennsylvania talking about it yesterday. And today, putting the patient and the doctor back in charge of health care with great leaders like Governor Pillen. God bless you,
Thank
your
you very
leadership,
much.
and all of our leaders. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. It's been a great day. And Terry and Andrew, thank you. Thank you very much for being here. I hear you're just outstanding people and have really helped. We appreciate it. You want to say something?
Thank you, President Trump, and I would just echo everything that's been said here. Thank you very much for what you're doing. I'm from the northwest corner of New Mexico. We also work with the Navajo Nation.
Right.
And so we have a lot of rural areas in our state and in our county. I'm also a county commissioner. So
Good.
I take as being a nurse practitioner, a county commissioner, with a heavy weight in order to see this happen. And it will help produce accessibility, which is a huge thing. People have to drive for miles in order to see a health care provider, workforce, quality care, and sustainability for our hospitals. That's what we're looking at. We meet next week in Santa Fe with our legislators. And so we're going to be addressing the licensure compact as well.
And they've got to clean up their elections in New Mexico.
We're working.
Because those elections are so corrupt, it's incredible. If they clean it up, we win by a lot, but they are really corrupt elections. So I think if you want to do this, you have to tell them to start working on that. It's unbelievably one of the more corrupt states in terms of that. But you uncorrupted, so I appreciate you being here.
Well, the
Terry.
Northwest Corner loves you.
I know. I know.
Thank you.
I know we have great love in New Mexico, but it's the elections are so corrupt. Not much you can do about it. We have that with numerous states. Thank you very much. Andrew, thank you very much. You have anything to say?
Mr. President, thank you for having me here today. It's an honor to be here to represent my community. I'm from Northwest Georgia. I grew up in West Virginia. to represent my colleagues and my profession. It's truly an honor. This is so important to our patients, to put the physician and the patient back together and take everything else out of the middle. I practice in cardiology. Having efficient, effective, high-quality care is so important, and time is of the essence, and patients need to be able to have close proximity to their doctors to get the care that they deserve. Quality of care shouldn't matter about the zip code. We should be able to do what we are best at and take care of our patients on an equal playing field, and this certainly helps that. I greatly appreciate all that you've done for the American people. You are an inspiration to us. You make us believe no problem is too big to solve. I mean, you are a representative of that, and I thank you for your leadership. Thank you for this opportunity to be here, and thank you for putting healthcare at the forefront. It's so important to every patient and every family that we take care of.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Great job. Great job you both do. Amazing. I've heard unbelievable things. And doctors in particular, thank you very much for being here. We very much appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. It's a big story. Thank you.
Big president. Big story for big president. All right, my patrons, and that is the serious part of the day. We can go ahead and let the comments fly. I do have some things that I want to share from my Facebook feed. Isn't your wife off work? I got permission, my friend. Don't worry about the time. When the wife gives me permission, I abuse it as much as I can. So go ahead and let the comments fly, and we'll see if we can find some reason in here. Now, I want to point this out because you guys probably have been looking at the news anyway, right? Even CNN has been showing it. So, first of all, I want to thank God, honestly, for the president that we have today. I know the left that hate Trump will probably never see it that way. I don't care. I really believe that it takes time, number one, but I really believe that President Trump has been the hardest working president I have ever witnessed in the history of this country since I've been here, since 1989. And I can tell you that he's getting a lot of things done, and for all the pushback that he is getting from every single Democrat, I am amazed even more how much he has gotten accomplished. But I will say this. When people push my buttons, when people challenge me, it makes me fire up. And I think maybe that's why President Trump is being so successful. He's being hated so much. He's being pushed so much that it just makes him work harder for what he believes. And one thing that he believes is that this country of the great of USA is a wonderful country to have. And I love it. And I never, ever will forget the day he grabbed the American flag like a little baby at a candy store and had this big ass grin in his face with a big smile, hugging the flag and kissing it. What billionaire does that to the American flag? Only President Donald Trump. Oh boy, man, I'm so excited. With that being out of the way, I want to go ahead and point this out because a lot of libtards, they keep saying that, Minnesota, the protesters for ICE. ICE is so horrible. ICE is this. As a matter of fact, we're talking about ICE. Let's go ahead and put some ICE on the chat. Let's get some ICE on the chat. Every time I say ICE, I want you guys to put some ICE emojis on there, okay? Only when I say, well, anytime, but specifically when I say ICE, okay? You guys think, if you didn't know, maybe you guys didn't, but there's a lot of people on the left that think that all the people out there are just innocent people, American citizens exercising their First Amendment right. ICE is not there for criminals. ICE is just there to be the Gestapo. Oh, man, I think that name is so funny, but ICE is not the enemy. You see, ICE are here to get rid of junk and pieces of garbage like this guy, right? If you watch the video, this is the guy that took the rifle from the back of the vehicle of the ICE agents. Now, I don't know why the ICE agents left the car unattended and nobody actually, stayed there to, watch over the stuff, right? But the ICE agents got their car vandalized. A lot of people went in there and just looted everything that was in the car. And this guy, if you guys can't read that, it says Latin Kings gang member accused of vandalizing the FBI vehicle, stealing government property in Minneapolis. And it looks like he stole a rifle because it was a long thing. And he actually argued with somebody else over it. Apparently, he won it. So this guy is, I guess he's being wanted now. They are looking for him. Breaking, literally. Thief in the night, says Carlos Maldonado as he shares this on Facebook. While chaos unfolded in Minneapolis, a suspected member of the violent Latin Kings gang allegedly helped himself to FBI body armor and weapons from a vandalized Bureau vehicle. Attorney General Pam Bondi says that the theft happens as agents rush to respond to an assault on a federal officer. Oh, ain't that a biatch. Well, that big-ass, beautiful tattoo on his face is not going to be very hard to find by the ICE agents, I can tell you that much. Man, my throat hurts already. I just started talking. What's going on? What's going on? Hey, it is Friday. Guys, happy Friday. I want to say thank you all to be here, man. Robert, my love to you, brother. I hope you get through this, just this little fight that you got on. I know Margaret says she's praying. Want to make sure everybody's praying for Robert's health. We love to have more Robert on our channel. So, brother, keep fighting. Don't give up. Keep fighting. We love you here, and we ask God bless you, bring you joy, strength, and may He strengthen your faith. Okay, we need to be faithful to God. Remember that. Well, that our life here on earth is important, but we need to make sure that we're letting God's will be done on earth. Okay, so we will never complain to God. We can question God, but we will never complain that He is letting us down. Amen? Amen. Okay, Tanya's praying for you as well, it looks like. All right, and let me see what else I got. In my profile, I got a couple of things that I want to share with you guys. Some of them things that you probably heard already. Let me see if this is the one. This is from the 12th. I don't know if you heard this yet.
I always find it somewhat laughable when we talk about, we're going to go ahead and pass this, but we'll keep working on it. This is what happens when you introduce major legislation change to the state of Washington with mere days to go in a session. It's not vetted. It's not thought through enough to find where these issues arise. So instead, no, we're going to go ahead and increase the cost, hoping that it maybe drives down the costs again under that strange economic theory, but we'll work on it later.
Now, what he's talking about, it's after voting to shut the public out of the budget process, they don't want the people to vote and know where the money is going to be allocated. This was done on April 15th, as you can see the date, right? April 15th? April 19th, okay? They don't want the people to know where their money is going and how they're going to use the money that they're paying these taxes for. So this Republican, which is the minority, it's arguing that. And all these Democrat morons that are in here collecting a paycheck, they don't give a jack squat, nothing, nada, zero, zilch about Washingtonians. They don't care about the people. They just care about making money. See, that's why they show a lot of love to all these illegal immigrants, because they don't give a crap about citizens. They don't even appreciate American citizens. They don't look after them. They don't fight for them. And that, my friends, it is the house of wolves that we are going to get into and fight against. Just want to point that out.
This past week, before all the facts of the case were known, a number of public officials rushed to conclusions.
Oregon, just like in Minnesota, jumped to go ahead and say bad things about ICE. They say that ICE is the Gestapo, that ICE are Nazis, and ICE is there to destroy our communities. They're not there to help. They're over there to destroy. And you know what? Just as we see people over here in our chat hating me when I'm supporting legal immigration but not illegal, call me a sellout, blah, blah, blah. You know what? They are out there defending criminals because they don't like to see people yelling and fighting, resisting arrest. I get it. It triggers an emotional response. And the problem that we have in our country is that when ICE shows up, they're so emotionally compromised. They can't comprehend that they're actually coming to grab an actual criminal because they think, oh, I work with him. He's such a nice guy. You don't even know he's a rapist. You have trusted this guy with your daughter. You don't know what he has done in the family. You don't know if he's a murderer. You don't know if he's a drug dealer. You don't know if he's a child trafficker. You don't know if he's a human smuggler. You don't know any of the things about the people that work right next to you. So let me tell you something. You don't have to call the cops on every little suspicion that you see. But when they come for them, there is a reason. There is a reason. Okay? Now, the governor and the mayor were talking a lot of shit about our ICE agents. And you know what? We are going to stand with our ICE agents because we know why they're here. We voted for our ICE agents to be doing what they're doing. And if the criminals want to keep defending criminals, well, I expect the law-abiding citizens to continue to support ICE 100%. As a matter of fact, the more they fight, the more ICE agents I want to see on the ground.
And made sweeping claims about what happened and who was responsible. Words like fascism, state-sponsored terrorism, and authoritarian violence were used by elected leaders at the local, state, and federal level. Those statements traveled fast, they shaped public perception, and they did so before the full facts were even available. Just before 5 p.m. on Thursday, the Department of Homeland Security released additional information about how the two individuals involved in this incident.
I don't think you know what fascism is. As a matter of fact, you guys are so ignorant. See, there's a couple of things that look very similar by the things that we stand for. We stand for this nation, which is what the nationalist part of that is what you don't understand. You don't know what nationalism is, okay? So you misunderstand the quote. And the reason you keep saying the Gestapo is because you keep comparing us to Hitler because he was also a nationalist. But you guys are so stupid because every person in this world, they might have the same likes, but the same responsibility or personality is not going to be the same. So the people that want to stand by the law and be with the law will always be together. This is why we do what we do in this channel. We respect the law. We want the law to be respected. Have we made mistakes? Sure. I'm sure that a lot of people on my channel have committed or broken the law at some point, to where there's some that have never broken the law. If I broke the law, maybe on a speeding ticket. I got 2 speeding tickets my whole life here in the United States of America. That's about as far as that goes. Okay? And I'm sure that there's people that don't even have that. And so I have respect for that. Now, you don't know what a fascist is, so you just throw that word out there because that's what you think. See, when you're talking about militarized in that word, we don't believe in that because it's not being militarized against American citizens. It is being militarized against criminals. And to me, criminals are giving up that right that belongs to law-abiding American citizens. Do you understand that? So if you don't know what fascist is, why don't you grab that and shove it up your ace? Now shut the hell up and learn something. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't speak that language. Why don't you leer something? Take a listen and leer.
Those individuals were not an innocent married couple. According to federal authorities, they were unlawfully present in.
I want to know. I really want to know this. Listen to these libtards that come in here. And you know, they wonder why I call them libtards. Listen to their outrage right now on the chat. Okay? The outrage. Just watch it. Watch the outrage on the chat. And listen to what the news, the actual news, facts, is being said. Criminals. Not just illegal immigrants that deserve to be deported. We're talking about criminals beyond the misdemeanor, okay? Beyond just being illegal. And these morons in here are still defending the criminals. Does that make sense to you? Why don't you guys think? Think before you put some stupid stuff on the chat, man. Do you guys listen to what's going on there? Or you just come in here, oh, look at that. Oh, that looks like a conservative podcaster. Let's throw some bad things in there. Do you listen? Do you even pay attention? I mean, do you even try? Or did you just give up on that as well? You libtards have given up on life. That's fine. Get the hell out of ours. Let us live our life. We're not done. We love life. We celebrate life. We celebrate freedoms. We celebrate rights. Everybody's rights. You are not leering anything. I hope that one day you can leer something. Where's your proof, says Cornelius? If you shut the hell up and listen, Exhibit A.
In the country, connected to a violent gang, and involved in a prostitution ring operating right here in Oregon. That information was publicly available before a press conference held by the governor, the Portland mayor, members of the city council, and state legislators. Yet none of those facts were shared with the public at that time. When Portland's police chief was asked Thursday about gang affiliation, he said he had no information. The following day, he acknowledged emotionally and publicly that these individuals were, in fact, known gang members and had been connected to a prior shooting in Portland last July. Portland police knew of that.
I'm going to pause it to give you a moment to understand what she said. And I hope that you're leering something from this. You got to keep leering. We never stop leering, guys. We leer every day. We leer every day. All right, I will go through this quick. I just remember, oh shoot, I haven't shipped you guys' mugs, and I'm leaving tomorrow. So I better get to it. All right, let's go ahead and finish this clips.
That affiliation earlier, the federal government had released that information earlier, but Oregonians did not hear it.
Shit. You know what? I just realized that the post office is going to close. So Robert, you might not get your mug. You're the only one that gave me a P.O. box. So you might not get your mug as bad as you want it. You're not going to get it. I'm sorry, brother. Today was hectic. I know. As a matter of fact, I also want to give you a heads up because when you get this mug, there is a card, a thank you card with my horrible handwriting, okay? I hope you forgive me for my horrible handwriting. Some of you just got my signature and a little line that I put at the bottom of that. But it's going to say Merry Christmas. Because I wanted to send it to you guys for Christmas, and they sent me the wrong boxes. Okay, I apologize about that. All right, let's see. Shut up, immigrants, and lear some English. I don't like that mind. That's not nice. I'll put you in timeout for 5 minutes. Think about what you did wrong, okay? Behave. Don't go crazy on me here.
Instead, we watched as federal law enforcement officers were publicly condemned, compared to secret police, and portrayed as threats to the community while criminal facts were withheld. That is not leadership. This past week, before all the facts of the...
Okay, Matt, you don't know how to spell. That's not how you spell it. You spell it like this. Haven't you learned anything, bro? You gotta leer better, bro. Guys, this guy, he's not leering. Somebody please try to leer him something.
The case were known, a number of public officials rushed to conclusions and made sweeping claims about what happened and who was responsible.
Unseen shadow, bro was just leering how to type on the chat. You're misspelling that as well, bro. These guys don't get it. I can't believe it.
Words like fascism.
Oh, there you go.
State-sponsored terrorism.
Oh, look at that. Lip tarts. Are you leering something? Let me rewind that. This is what you use. This guy, we've been hearing this from Marxists all the time. You don't fool nobody. Okay, lip tarts. This is for you to leer something, okay? Leer this.
State-sponsored terrorism and authoritarian violence were used by elected leaders at the local, state, and federal level. Those statements traveled fast, they shaped public perception, and they did so before the full facts were even available. Just before 5 p.m. on Thursday, the Department of Homeland Security released additional information about how the two individuals involved in this incident.
You too, Rat.
Those individuals were not an innocent married couple. According to federal authorities, they were unlawfully present in the country, connected to a violent gang, and involved in a prostitution ring operating right here in Oregon. That information was publicly available before a press conference held by the governor, the Portland mayor, members of the city council, and state legislators. Yet none of those facts were shared with the public at that time. When Portland's police chief was asked Thursday about gang affiliation, he said he had no information. The following day, he acknowledged emotionally and publicly that these individuals were, in fact, known gang members and had been connected to a prior shooting in Portland last July. Portland police knew of that affiliation earlier. The federal government had released that information earlier, but Oregonians did not hear it. Instead, we watched as federal law enforcement officers were publicly condemned, compared to secret police, and portrayed as threats to the community while criminal facts were withheld. That is not leadership.
Got it. Thank you very much. No, we're not going to go to that one. This one's just for fun.
Good morning, New York City. Thank you.
Good morning, New York City. Oh, man, that was too funny, man. That's too funny. All right, time to get serious. Time to get serious and remember this. This is very important, okay? For all you libtards that have not leered anything yet, here is your chance to leer something about your First Amendment right.
Let me make this clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing?
Yeah.
It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them.
Yeah, it's reasonable. Are you leering? If you pay attention so you can leer something. Come on, pay attention so you can leer something.
If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you. We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hands and start to commit crimes against law enforcement. It is a crime.
Yeah.
You may not like what they're doing.
Yep.
I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime, especially one that could lead to deadly force.
Yeah, lear something.
We need to keep everyone safe. Our responsibilities when it comes to federal agents, and I've been
Adios, amigo. Thanks for stopping by.
asked these questions. We do not interfere with the duties and responsibilities of federal agents. Let me make this.
Thank you very much, sir. That was actually pretty good. You know what? I think that's a pretty good introduction for our favorite videos of the end of the show. You guys know what time it is. You probably heard it already. You already heard it. I'm going to save some of my Facebook stuff for you guys for later. But did you guys lear anything? If you don't know what we're talking about, well, here we go. Now we can actually enjoy our favorite crime shaft of the right side of the law. Yeah, you guys never leer. Apparently, you guys have a problem leering something good. Your IQ is getting lower by the day. I'm sorry. You know what? We're still telling the truth. We're still fighting for you. We're still trying to rescue you. Like, you guys are like that dog that just got kicked around and got thrown away, and nobody wants anything to do with you. But you know what? We are still hoping that you will come and unite with us, because we still hope that one day you will lear one of the lessons in life, and that is, well, I'll leave it to you to lear on your own. I don't want to spoil your life. Here we go, baby. Let's start cooking.
What happens when a Minnesota obstructionist refuses to get out of their vehicle? That's one of the many things we will find out in today's video. And while the media has been focused on ICE in Minnesota, ICE has also been busy in other states like California, and you will get a front row seat on today's expedition. Buckle up and subscribe, because I cover this stuff every day.
On scene, you finally got in there, huh? Now you're spelling it right.
You ain't gonna do nothing. Shut the f*** out. Hey,
Look at him.
hey, bájale. Bájale. Bájale de huevos, vato. Bájale.
Now, I'm going to point something out, and you have to understand. For all the libtards that haven't learned anything, I want to tell you something. If there was no crowd in there with phones and this and that, she would not do that. She would just walk in the car all willing. But because you libtards are out there and you don't lear anything, now she starts resisting arrest, which she doesn't know that can actually add a crime to her being arrested. But you libtards that go out there and protest and do this, you guys are the corruption of our country for now. So I hope that you watch this video and you lear something.
Touching me. Touching me.
The wild Karen thinks it's above the law and immune to repercussions. ICE is simply reintroducing them to reality. Yes, and we believe in equality. So now she gets to be arrested just like anyone else who breaks the law.
Grow some f***ing balls. Ay, bájate la máscara, culero. Bájate la máscara.
You know, what I think is very funny is that This girl, it's in the United States of America, and all her cursing is in Spanish. She didn't learn English. That's the problem. They keep going to these learning centers, but they never learn anything. What a waste of time. I would have grabbed her and learn her a lesson. Put her in the back of the car with her, just so they can keep each other company.
Bájate la máscara! You know exactly what the fuck I'm telling you.
Oh, she's speaking.
¿Y eso qué? ¿Y eso qué? ¿Y eso qué? Look at the way you fucking have. All right, we'll calm the situation down. They're men. That's a lady, bro. They're fucking grown-ass men. Fucking men handling her. Let me fucking grab you like that. She had a fucking dog.
Oh, I didn't realize she had a dog. That changes everything. Remove the handcuffs and let her go freely. The law doesn't apply to dog owners.
I don't give a... Back up! Back up!
If you thought there was only one Somali woman being arrested today, think again. We got another one coming right up. But first, let's check in on the pepper-sprayed male Karens.
He's pouring that milk on him and getting his clothes all wet when it's cold. That's a very smart idea.
You got it. You got it. Up here. Let me see your hat. Let me see your hat. Let me see your hat. You got it. You got it. Go. Open.
These people just don't leer. They're incapable of leering anything.
You okay? Hey, Kaka, you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay?
I hope this brings tears of joy to your eyes like it does for me. Now back to the Somalis.
I hope it wasn't whole milk.
They woke up and decided today was a good day to obstruct federal agents. Bad move.
I want to point out, pay attention. You see that road is clear? All she has to do is keep driving. Are you leering something? Just keep driving. But no, let's see what happens.
Go that way. Hey, back the f*** up. Sidewalk. Force is not law. You are not following the law.
I love the piece that the leftist media showed, right? They just showed this part, but they didn't show when they told her to keep moving, and they didn't show the roadway was nice and clear for her to get out of there. They think that we're like them, but we use common sense, and these guys are just piling up felonies on themselves. Oh, by the way, I did drive around a little bit today, and I was looking for ICE. I couldn't find them anywhere. I heard they were around my town here, and I couldn't find them. So no selfies. I apologize about that.
Police people are disabled, so I can put a doctor up there.
Okay, so she says that now she says she's disabled and she's also autistic. User, oh, what a shame. What a shame. What a shame. Defending criminals. What a shame. She wouldn't be arrested right now if she would have kept going the way they told her to keep going. But she decided to stay there and obstruct justice. That's what happens. You cannot be impeding at all. No, I know. Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, I don't think common sense exists anymore. It's very hard to get any. So these people that come into my channel, they support ICE, but for some reason, they think we're being the hateful ones. They keep saying deport Dennis all the time. My sister Trinity has been pointing this out all the time. You guys support ICE for thee, but none for me, and me none for thee. How does that work? I don't think I'm learning anything from you guys. You guys are not teaching me anything. I wish that you learn how to teach.
This is the greatest late Christmas gift I could have ever asked for. Thank you, Ice. I want a t-shirt of her face in shock as she is yanked out of that car. I voted for this.
This is your duty! Why don't you help that woman? Help that woman! Why don't you help someone? All you do is hurt! All you do is hurt! She's trying to drive down the fucking crazy. Where is the law?
Nobody cares, Riley.
Let's go. We're not playing with you. Get out the floor. Get her up. Just tell her to come over. Okay, just tell her to come over. It's okay, come over here. Give us space, please. Give us space, thank you. Give us space. Okay, explain to her. Bring her over here.
Not one word of coherent English has been spoken by the illegal Somalis. They won't be missed.
Come here, give me your hand. Give me your hand.
This next situation has the woke left claiming that ICE is arresting children for no reason.
Those are children! Shame on you! Shame on you!
I may need to add the dog card to the Karen checklist, but on a serious note, the children are not in handcuffs and are bringing the dog with them. Their illegal parents probably got arrested, so now ICE is figuring out what to do with them.
Let them go! These are kids! What's wrong with you? Shame on you! Let them go! You're hurting our community! You're awful! Get out of our city! We don't want you to do this! We don't want you here! You are not helping!
You know what I find very interesting is people are so stupid. Keon, you make no sense, bro. You keep bringing the same shit up over. That's the only argument that you freaking retards have. What you morons don't understand is that these kids, yeah, they're kids, they're teenagers, But you don't know if these teenagers were actually being sequestrated, if they were being taken, kidnapped or smuggled or trafficked across the border. You morons go out there and obstruct justice, probably getting a felony for being a dumbass, and you don't even know if these people are going to where they're supposed to go. What if they're just trying to put families together? How about that? Have you ever thought about that before you go in there and start doing dumb shit? Come on.
This is wrong! We are filming
Bye,
crime! You are committing crime! You will be held accountable for the crimes you are committing! You are committing crime! In our city! Get out of our city! You and I... Go away! You're taking children! This is wrong! You're taking our children!
Now let's check in on our Juanito in California.
All right, so before I type it, let me please, don't play stupid. Don't play ignorant. Don't give me this bullshit victim card. I don't play that shit. I'm a freaking migrant that came to this country and respects the law. Don't play stupid. If they detain natives, what are they doing? Are they protesting? They wouldn't come get natives, you dumbasses. They wouldn't come to get natives at all. They wouldn't be arresting American citizens if they didn't obstruct justice. Stop playing this victimhood card. It doesn't go with me. You guys are stupid. Freaking Keon comes in here every day. January 6th, shut the hell up. What about January 6th? What about the police officer that shot Ashley in the head for no reason? Shut up. Just shut up. Unless you're going to tell me a reason why he shot her in the head, shut the hell up. Don't bring January 6th because you guys are all guilty as much as those people that caused the insurrection. Don't come over here defending January 6th because of what they're doing. These guys over here. It's the same shit. You don't think about your past. Oh, well, you can't tell me what to do because you did this when you were my age. That's the stupidest thing that you're going to be able to say. You don't let your kids commit a crime because you committed a crime at a certain age. Don't be stupid. You don't play that card with me, man. Grow up. Learn something. And come over here talking shit. What have you done for this country? What have you done to help these people understand how the law works? Throwing out the Constitution like you know anything. You don't know jack squat. I don't appreciate you laughing over there, el más buscado pendejo. Get the hell out of my chat. Mira, this guy is illegal, bro. No doubt. No doubt.
Yo tengo papeles, pero de ver esto me pongo muy nerviosa. Por favor, tengan mucho cuidado.
I know, Tim, but they're going to deny that all the time. It doesn't matter what happens to the agents. Well, we care about our agents. They work for us. They're trying to keep us safe. They're trying to get rid of all these idiots that came and invaded our country and those white guilt dumbasses that support them. Yeah, keep resisting. Keep resisting. I'm 100% okay with that. Want to act like an animal? Get treated like an animal.
He's not resisting!
He is clearly
He's not resisting, and the guy's still moving around. Seriously?
resisting. But all a Democrat can do is lie and deny reality.
Thank you, Crime Chef. That's exactly my point. Guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and read this again. Because the law is on our side. 18 U.S.C., that's 111, assaulting, resisting, or impeding certain officers or employees. Forcibly assaulting, resisting, impeding, intimidating, or interfering with federal officers. It's against the law. You will go to jail. If you didn't learn anything in school, if you are an illegal immigrant in here, or you're an anchored baby that doesn't know how to respect the law, if you are an emotionally destroyed person, you will never understand common sense. Stop thinking with your emotions and start thinking with common sense. Do you even do critical thinking at all in your life? Did daddy not give you a hug when you were a child? Were you not taught by your parents to respect your elders, to respect the law, to behave, to be a good person? Did your parents never taught you any morals, any respect for others? Me exhorting, me rebuking somebody that's doing something wrong is not the same thing. And I can tell you parents didn't teach you shit because you don't know the difference. You hear the tone in my voice. You hear that I'm passionate about it, and you don't understand why. You're still defending criminal animals. The people that get in trouble, they will never get in trouble if they don't impede our federal agents. You want me to read it again? Assaulting, resisting, impeding, intimidating. Just intimidating, you can get arrested for it. Think about that before you start hating on me. Don't hate the messenger. Hate the truth. But if my advice counts for anything, let it be to bring you peace and keep you out of trouble. Respect the law. Period. Very simple. A lot of people with common sense understand exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't think people that have no common sense will never understand what I'm saying. All I know is I got some boxes with some mugs that I want to ship out. And well, I think that I spent enough time, 3.5 hours for Friday. Happy Friday. You want to call eyes on me? Hey, make sure if you are an illegal immigrant, I know you don't have one of these, but if you are an American citizen or if you have a green card, make sure you have that with you and show it to ICE when they come for you. Trinity, Bob, Brian, all of my people in here that are always supporting me. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Burden 47. Appreciate you. And right before we leave, time, it's on my side. Yes, he is. Don't think I forgot about you. God bless you all. Hey, have a good weekend. I don't know if I'm going to have a live tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Who knows? I got to spend time with the wifey. Hey, God bless you. God bless the USA. And God bless your family. Robert, we'll keep praying for you, my friend. Love you. My man. You be good, bro. I will see you on the next one.